tell you who's been playing really well lately. The Indians, man, they've been kicking gas.
I'll be a couple of Indians again.
Very well could be. And if you just go off the regular season, I mean, people should be saying like, oh yeah, Houston
Football
and
fans, did
the Dodgers,
you
but I
know
mean,
that the
Houston's-
VFW of America was founded right here in Columbus, Ohio on
2.5
September the
actually.
29th,
Yeah.
1899?
It's nuts because I thought
The
Houston would run away with
VFW's goal is
that.
to be a fraternal, patriotic, historical,
It's a
charitable,
long
and
season.
educational organization.
If it was played
You
in
are
June, yeah,
eligible for membership to the VFW
Yeah.
or
Dodgers are
the
struggling right now, too.
American Legion.
Well, and
If you are,
I'm sorry, but
you're an
even
active
though they have all the
current
wins that
member
they
of the
have,
military or
they still
veteran,
have that long,
first and
long history of
foremost, thank you for your
coming up short of
selfless
playoffs.
service.
You
We
know?
invite you to go to the information table
Bellinger's been
inside the
struggling
lobby here at the Cap
got
Center.
hurt.
Members of the
Back now,
VFW
he's
Tri-Community Post number
Yeah.
4719
I don't
are
think Rich
waiting to
Hill's
answer
gonna
your
hold up.
questions on
Really
membership
get a pitch like that.
or even regarding
Clayton
the
Kershaw
Veterans
is not Bob
Administration.
Gibson. He, for whatever reason,
Tri-County Post in
he does
Gahanna
not rise to the occasion in the
99
postseason.
meals
got
and
it.
Sunday morning breakfast
got
that
you.
are open to the public. You're welcome to visit and help support the VFW as well as visit with many of the veterans and their families. Hope to see you at the info table or at a VFW event very soon.
I was messing around with it and figured it out. Been here long enough, probably can figure it out. The jack on that side.
Yes. Is it the headphone or the microphone? You working at this?
The Cubs got Martine from the Marlins, or Mariners too.
Boy, you know, I was telling somebody this the other night. You could make the argument that the trades that teams have made in late August were much more exciting than the ones in late July.
And I've never there's been a few August trades, but today, this year was way more nuts than normal.
Yeah. Like Brandon Phillips, of all people, going to the Angels. Yeah. Verlander finally went to Houston.
It was weird that Phillips went. Is he gonna retire? Or is he gonna play? He's in the last year of his deal.
I think he's going to keep playing. I haven't heard anything about him retiring. Yeah. The Reds weren't rebuilding. I still like to see him in a Reds uniform, but
Skinner Dennis 30 home runs up.
yeah,
It's so funny.
huh? Good afternoon, everyone. A rainy day here in Bexley, Ohio, but we are still going to be playing football. College football is back for Capital University as the Crusaders get set to open the 2017 campaign against the Lions of Mount St. Joseph's out of the Cincinnati, Ohio area. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Danis. Welcome into the Crusaders pregame show, getting you set for the 2017 season opener between the Lions and the Crusaders today. And Jimmy, before we get to the team specifically, let's talk about the field conditions as we look outside. Rain is coming down hard. It's going to be a factor all day long, and you already know that both teams are going to have the pregame jitters and are going to want to try to settle things in a little bit right off the bat. Ball security is going to be a big issue for both squads.
Yeah, fortunately there is the turf field, obviously, so it's not like there's going to be big, massive puddles or anything like that, but it's going to be a slippery field today. And the ball itself is going to be very wet. Just looking in warm-ups, all the balls they're using are very dark brown color and absorbing the water already. So obviously they're going to use new balls throughout the game, probably rotate those in. But ball security is going to be an issue, and turnovers as well are always a big story here, especially at the D3 level. It's going to be very important to keep control of the ball today.
Well, as we get started here in 2017, Jimmy, I think if you were trying to craft an opening statement for Capital as we get ready to embark upon another football season, I think the key word would be optimism, considering that you have a lot of veterans returning, a lot of returning starters. I mean, I was looking at the roster in preparation for today's game, and the one number that really stuck out to me was 17 seniors. We've been doing this thing at Capital for about 4 years now, and there were times where Capital's roster had single-digit seniors. 7 is a number that stands out to me for some odd reason. But now they have 17. More and more players are staying with the program. Coach Chad Rogoszewski, I think, is really building something special here.
Yeah, and again, it's year 2 with him, so he's getting more of the players that fit his system as well. But if you look at the 2 deep, there's only 2 sophomores starting. Everybody else is an upperclassman, and David Barnett is one of those sophomores, arguably the team's best offensive player. So very good in terms of experience-wise of players that are going to be out there on the field. And it'll be interesting to see how these freshmen and sophomores make their mark on the team as well. Again, as Coach has brought those players in for his system, how he can kind of mold them in and get a little bit of production out of them while still relying heavily on his upperclassmen to carry the squad.
And they get a very interesting opponent with the Lions of Mount St. Joseph's, again out of the Cincinnati, Ohio area. Mount St. Joe's last year lost their first 3 games in 2016 before finishing the season on a high note, winning 6 out of their last 7. We'll get into more detail about what the Lions possess both offensively and defensively, but right off the bat, they have a passing attack, Jimmy, that needs to be focused on, that really needs to be taken seriously.
Yeah, absolutely, and the weather then obviously kind of tilts the scale towards us a little bit as they're going to have to throw through this rain. It's a team that they can run the ball. They did run for 4 yards a carry last season, but they really don't like doing it a whole lot, and their leading rusher from last year is actually off the team now, the senior Mike Williams, and he had only 75 carries. That was the most carries anyone on the team had, and you divide that by 10 games, that's about 7.5 carries per game exactly, actually. So, I mean, they don't have that workhorse running back or anything like that for these kind of conditions. They're going to be throwing the football today.
We will step aside for a moment. When we come back, we'll take a look around the OAC. We know that Mount Union is the perennial favorite to win the Ohio Athletic Conference, but who were some of the contenders picked at the preseason meetings, and what games are going to be taking place today? We will give you those answers and much more as we continue with the Crusaders pregame show in just a moment. Welcome back to the Crusaders pregame show, getting you set for the 2017 football opener between Mount St. Joseph's and Capital. Let's now take a look at the Ohio Athletic Conference, and no surprise, Mount Union was picked at the OAC football preview as the preseason favorite, although this will be a very interesting year. The defending OAC champion will be John Carroll, so keep that in mind heading into 2017. Here's how the coaches poll and the media poll turned out for the OAC. Again, Mount Union was picked as a favorite in both polls. Mount Union got 8 first-place votes in the coaches poll. John Carroll got 2. Heidelberg was picked 3rd. Behind them was Ohio Northern, Otterbein 5th, Baldwin Wallace 6th, Marietta 7th. Capital came in at number 8. just ahead of Muskingum and Wilmington. The media poll, kind of the same, just flip-flop Heidelberg and Ohio Northern. In the media poll, it was the Polar Bears at number 3 and the Berg at number 4, Otterbein at number 5, Baldwin-Wallace at number 6, Capital at number 7, Muskingum at number 8, Marietta at number 9, and Wilmington at number 10. Again, Jimmy, it's kind of weird saying someone other than Mount Union, the defending OAC champion, they had a lock on that for many, many years, but that is the case heading into 2017 after what turned out to be a stellar season for John Carroll.
It's kind of funny, too, for John Carroll. They have some bulletin board material already right off the gate. They're the defending champs, and here they are picked number 2. And especially in these D3 polls, usually it's very similar to the 2017 or 2016 standings. They just kind of take the standings from last year, and maybe they'll move a team or two around. But it's kind of interesting that obviously Mount Union should be the favorite based on the program history, but John Carroll beat them last year, and here they are picked number 2. So obviously that's going to be the story throughout the OAC season. As we look at the conference as a whole, it's going to be that battle at the top as it usually is. But those teams in the middle as well have all been kind of making a step forward. Heidelberg, very good team last year. I know they only had 6 conference wins, 6-3 overall in conference play, but they were a very good team last year, and I'm interested in seeing how they might take a step forward and maybe make the tournament themselves.
We already have some games in action at the moment around the OAC. A minute 19 remaining in the first quarter. Mount Union, surprise, surprise, is already winning. They are beating North Carolina Wesleyan 17-0 in that game. Still no score between Heidelberg, who is at Olivet today. 14:02 remaining in the first quarter of that one. 12:02 remaining at Muskingum. The Muskies playing host to Waynesburg today. And finally, the defending OAC champion, that would be John Carroll. Let's see here. They are playing host to Wisconsin Oshkosh, who typically is a very, very good program. And I'm trying to see if I can get some stats here or a quick score as we continue here with the pregame show. They just got started. 13:23 remaining in the first quarter. Still scoreless between John Carroll and Wisconsin Oshkosh. So a couple of games just to keep an eye on as we continue to get ready for college football here. And now you get to hear my conversation with head coach Chad Rogaszewski. The last couple of years, Capital has seen upward growth in the win column. A season ago, they went 4-6. This coming after a 3-7 season the prior season. Can this be the year where Capital gets to the 500 mark, or dare I say it, go above the 500 mark? Here's what Chad Rogaszewski had to say about this upcoming season here in 2017. Welcome back to the Crusaders pregame show, getting you set for the 2017 regular season opener between Mount St. Joseph's and your Capital Crusaders. I'm Charlie Danis, and joining me now is the head coach of the Capital football program, Chad Rogaszewski. Well, Coach, a lot of optimism heading into 2017. You got a lot of returning starters, 17 seniors on the roster. Seems like there are veterans all over the place.
I do think there's a lot of positives to look at going into game one. Obviously, we've got to see how that plays out in terms of can we go out, can we execute, can we correct mistakes that we had made a year ago, can we continue to improve and get better from what we did in preseason camp and in our preseason scrimmages. So there's a lot to find out today, but I think we're encouraged going into it by some of the pillars that we've been able to build in the year and a half that we've been here.
And I'm sure that you have to be really encouraged about Thomas Wibbler coming back at quarterback, suffered a knee injury last year. How has he looked?
He's done well. He'll take his first hit today, I assume. We have not had him get hit in practice at all, but I look at his approach to getting back on the field, and you can tell he went to work at his rehab and is healthy from an injury standpoint, but you can also tell he improved physically in other areas that didn't have anything to do with his injury. He really attacked the offseason hard and has had a good preseason camp.
We're talking with head coach Chad Rogaszewski here on the Crusaders pregame show, getting set for the season opener with Mount St. Joseph's. So Wibbler's back at quarterback. You got Corey Heater back at running back, Derek Barnett, Nick Waters, a wide receiver, Trey Reese, he showed flashes of brilliance at tight end. Seems like a lot of weapons on offense. How potent can this offense be?
Well, we're going to find out today, and we'll find out during the course of the season. They're a year more experienced. They're guys that made plays for us a year ago, and you always hope that equates to a little bit more productivity. But obviously, we've got to go out and execute and make that happen. But I do feel encouraged by the fact that I think we do have some returning players with experience that made plays for us a year ago.
Offensive line, a little bit of an issue, seeing that 4 starters from last year, or 4 players, I should say, graduated from last year. So you've kind of had to put some new faces out there. How's that? I'm Charlie Danis, and joining me now is the head coach of the Capital Football Program, Chad Rogaszewski. Well, Coach, a lot of optimism heading into 2017. You got a lot of returning starters, 7.
A little bit more green than they were a year ago, with 6 seniors offensive linemen a year ago, and like we said, 4 of those regular starters for us, or in a rotation for us. So you do lose a lot of experience. I think it's a more athletic group this year, so that's exciting, because you've got to block athletic players on defense, and I think we're going to learn a lot about them, because there's some young guys getting their first starts today.
We're talking with Capital head coach Chad Rogaszewski, getting you set for the 2017 season opener between Mount St. Joe's and Capital. Let's now switch things over to the defense. Again, a lot of veterans coming back. I want to focus specifically on the linebacking core. You got a lot of veterans coming back with that unit, and from what I understand, you're also going to be relying on a lot of those guys, not just starters but backups as well, special teams wise. Explain that to me.
Exactly. That's a position group that you look for to get on the field in a variety of ways. Obviously, their primary position being linebackers for us, but then all of your special teams require big athletic bodies, and that's what you tend to find at the linebacker position. So if there's a place that you would like to be deep defensively, it probably is the linebacker position, because they're going to get pulled and used in so many different ways. We even steal guys to be on our PAT field goal protection team from the linebacking core, because they're big, strong, athletic guys as a group, and that's a group we're counting on for some leadership and veteran experience as well.
The defensive line, everything has to start up front, and obviously getting pressure on the quarterback is important, especially when you play in the OAC. I've seen some familiar names on that defensive line and some newcomers as well. How's that been gelling?
It's not unlike our offensive line, in the sense that we feel good about what we've seen there in practice. We think it's a more athletic, disruptive group. However, it's an inexperienced group as well. Of the 4 guys that go out there to start today, Drew Selig is the only one that has significant playing time experience. So it's another group that we're going to learn a lot about today. Early indications have been positive, but we've got to find out what they can do when they're game tested.
The secondary, Sean Fascione is going to be at linebacker, but he's played a little bit in the secondary as well. And again, I'm seeing more and more familiar faces back there. That has to make you feel comfortable as a coach, knowing that you got guys back in the secondary that know what they're doing.
Yeah, we've got experienced guys at the corner and safety positions. What we want to develop is some depth there. Those are positions that do a lot of running on defense, and they got to play at a max speed virtually every single play. So having some guys that can be in rotations and get guys a little bit of time off the field, and so they can play at their top level for more plays in the course of a game, is something we'll want to do there. And we're hoping to find out who those guys are right now. I think we feel good about the 4 that have a lot of experience playing. Going to find out who those guys are that can play in rotations and back them up today.
Talking with Chad Rogaszewski, the head coach of the Capital Football Program, as the Crusaders get set to take on Mount St. Joseph's. Let's talk about Mount St. Joe's. Very resilient group last year. They lost their first 3 games, but they won 6 of their last 7 to finish 6-4. Let's start with their quarterback, Jayden Tomlin, who, from what I understand, had a very good freshman year.
Right. What we know about them is what we can read on paper, and that's they've got a new coach. He was in the program, so there is some unknown going into any first game when you couple that with a new head coach, and he may be doing things that he's wanted to do, once he got that opportunity for a long time, and you're going to see him for the first time today. So, it's a situation where we've tried to evaluate them, see who their returners are. They've got a lot returning on both sides of the football, but we know them on paper. We were going to find out how they are live today.
What do they present offensively and defensively, challenges on both sides of those balls?
Yeah, I just think the experience that they have. We reading up on the quarterback. Great freshman year, freshman of the year in the conference, I believe. So he brings some talent back to statistically, which was a very good receiving core and passing game. And at all levels, all defensive linemen are returning. I believe 2 of the 3 linebackers, and I believe both corners and maybe one of the safeties with some playing experiences is returning. So they're a veteran group on both sides of the football, and not unlike us. They're probably counting on that for some success on the field today when you've got returners back.
One last question. One big key for today's game.
I think it's going to be taking care of the football. Ball security. We've got rain out there right now. It's a pillar of what we're trying to stress with our guys. Disruption defensively, taking the football away from the offense, protecting the football offensively. I know it's cliched, but when it's a little wet out, when it's a first game and there's jitters, taking care of the football is monumental.
All right. Well, Coach, thank you so much, and good luck against Mount St. Joe's today.
Thanks, Charlie.
Chad. Sorry about the technical difficulties when playing that interview, but that was my conversation with head coach Chad Rogaszewski, and he was talking about ball security. As we look out now, the rain is starting to ease up a little bit, but as we look out at the stands, Jimmy, we can see umbrellas as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, it's still definitely wet. It's still raining. It has lightened up a little bit, like you said, and looks like it's kind of just no wind at all, which is kind of interesting, just kind of straight down rain coming onto the field. And the field itself, it can stop raining. It's still going to be wet for probably the duration of this entire game. The ball's going to hit the ground, obviously. So ball security, like Coach said right there, is going to be very big today, as we mentioned as well as at the top of the pregame show here.
Let's talk about Capital now. Again, we talked at the beginning of the pregame show about how the key word might be optimism, and there's good reason for it. Plenty of talent is returning on both sides of the ball. Let's start offensively, Jimmy. I am really excited to see Thomas Wibbler back out there at quarterback. He had really good chemistry with David Barnett, who had a sensational freshman year. The sophomore now out of Springfield, Ohio, broke into the top 10 single season-wise for receiving yards, touchdown catches. He had 10 as a freshman last season. It'll be interesting to see how Wibbler looks considering the knee injury that he suffered last year.
Yeah, and just all those injuries that really ravaged the team, as we'll get to a few more of them as we go through the preview here. But and with Wibbler, the one thing to keep an eye on is his completion percentage, 53% last season, which actually was below Connor McLeod, who kind of played in that 2-quarterback system as the passing guy. He was 57%, to kind of give you a benchmark there. But obviously Wibbler, a more talented passer. He definitely got a nice long ball. And like you said, that chemistry with David Barnett, interesting to see how an entire offseason of workouts with those two, where that relationship is at now on the football field. And it's just nice to have your leader back out there on the field and really the guy that can really run this system that Coach wants to run, more so than an Iskey, who's more of a runner at quarterback, or a McLeod, who's kind of a hybrid type.
And it's not just him. He's got weapons to work with, as I was talking about with Coach Rogo just a moment ago. Corey Heater returns at running back. He's had trouble with injuries in the past, so hopefully Capital can get a healthy season amount out of him. Besides Barnett at wide receiver, you got guys like Nick Waters coming back. Eddie Preciado is also out there. But the guy I am looking forward to watching today, Jimmy, is Dartavius Stanford. He spent 2 seasons at Ohio Dominican, the D2 program up the street, had 60 catches for 687 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns for the Panthers, Oh, by the way, Stanford was a former teammate of Thomas Wibbler back in their prep days at Zanesville High School, just to the east of us. He should be an upgrade at the wide receiver core, a real asset for this Capital team.
Yeah, nice little help there from Wibbler, I'm sure, in the recruiting efforts there. But they've got a nice little group of guys here. Trey Reese as well. I want to mention the tight end. They tried to get him involved, not no like 5 or 6 targets a game, but they did take a shot to him, it seemed like, once a game or so, and he had some very big catches for this team last season, including a 51-yard catch. So I look for him to stretch the middle of the field a little bit today. And again, Barnett's kind of the key guy here with the receivers, but you have a senior in Waters, a junior in Preciado. These are names that you and I have been coming accustomed to over the years here. Nick Waters is a really nifty player and can make an impact in many different ways. And going back to the running backs that we were talking about, Heater, again, he's coming off an injury as well. He had 7 touchdowns in 6 games last season and then suffered the injury. We saw a little bit of Evan Butler get involved, and he did a nice job, actually. 66 carries for 248 yards, 3.8 yards per carry average for kind of a bruising change of pace running back. And it was good that he was able to get that experience because, like I said, he's going to be that change of pace. And in a game like today with the rain, we might see some Evan Butler trying to bang some up the middle here a little bit, and especially look for him in the second half when the defense might be a little bit worn down.
The offensive line will see some new changes along there. 4 players graduated from last year for Capital, so hopefully that unit has gelled and will put up a good performance here today against Mount St. Joe's. We are approaching kickoff here at Bernlohr Stadium. Getting set for the national anthem here real quick. It's raining here in Central Ohio, and I'd just like to take this opportunity to wish the folks in Houston, Texas, who have been greatly affected by Hurricane Harvey as of late. They love their football down there as well in the state of Texas. We hope that they are doing okay and hopefully putting the pieces back together because, boy, I mean, it's been a lot of rain in that region, Jimmy, and if there is one positive to take away from that situation, it's that our country nationally has really come together. The donations and the fundraising from NFL players to what our government has been doing these last couple of days, it's been pretty spectacular.
Yeah, and Capital getting involved as well, taking donations, and I believe they sent over some clothes as well as a lot of other D3 schools from all over the country, just sending supplies and doing whatever they can to help.
We will step aside for just a moment. When we come back, we will inch closer and closer to kickoff between Mount St. Joe's and Capital. Stay with us. We're inching closer and closer to kickoff between Mount St. Joseph's and Capital. The Lions and the Crusaders have never met each other on a football field. until today. That is going to change here. Let's go ahead and talk about the Lions, Jimmy. As we mentioned at the top, team last year that lost its first 3 games, and for a lot of teams, that would mean big-time trouble, but give them credit. They had resiliency. In fact, they won 6 out of their last 7 games to end the 2016 season to go to 6-4 last year. And this is a college football program that's really come a long way since they got started back in 2001.
Yeah, they've got a nice, interesting kind of quarterback here in Janton Tomlin. He had 2,356 yards last season, 28 touchdowns, just 9 interceptions, a 61% completion percentage. They built a nice little system here, and they've definitely been catching the eye of some schools here, especially in that Cincinnati area, really becoming kind of a power down there.
And you made mention of their quarterback, Chayton Tomlin, out of Mount Orab, Ohio. Tomlin started as a quarterback, and he was a big reason why the Lions were able to make the turnaround. Apparently there was a quarterback change within the middle of the season, and he really performed well, threw for nearly 30 touchdowns, if I have my statistics
28.
correctly. Yep. So clearly they are throwing the ball very well. They don't use a tight end all that much on offense, Jimmy, but if Capital is going to win this game, they're going to have to really bring their A game when it comes to the pass defense. But again, we keep referencing this. The rain, there's not a strong wind as we look at the flag to our right. That's not going to be a factor, but the rain, the wet conditions, it's just going to be interesting to see how each offense gets its footing here to start this ball game.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, first off, who gets this coin toss as they're doing it right now. And I think Capital would want to obviously have Mount St. Joe's get the ball first and let their defense make a statement for them. This secondary for Capital, we've been saying these names for 3 years now, Charlie. It's a very veteran group, very good playmaking group, and they've been getting a lot of different playmakers, even from the linebackers. Chuck English had a very memorable pick 6 last season as a linebacker, obviously not on the team anymore, but Coach was really stressing taking the ball away. That's something that this defense has really grown and done a nice job with last year. They're getting more takeaways a couple years back. It seemed like the defense was just kind of bending but don't break, and you can't play that way in this conference. There's just too many high-powered offenses. You need to take the ball away and put your offense in a good spot to get some points, and I think that's going to be a big key today. Not necessarily who turns it over more, but what defense is more able to take the ball away and really force the issue.
Capital won the toss. They deferred, and Mount St. Joe's will get the ball to start. Both teams have taken the field. They are just about to rush onto the field. Mount St. Joe's wearing their white jerseys, white pants, navy blue numbers outlined by yellow, white helmets, and looks like a yellow lion on the side of the helmet as well. Capital now takes the field in their purple jerseys. The sleeves are gray with purple. The pants are white with purple striping on the side, and the familiar white helmet with the C with a warrior in the middle and a purple stripe going down the middle. The face mask purple as well. College football season is back here for Capital. As we talked about at the beginning of the pregame show, optimism abounds for Capital. They have improved by 1 win each of the last couple of seasons. Chad Rogoszewski, in his second year at the helm as head coach of Capital, looking to continue that upward trend. And Jimmy, given the schedule, given how many veterans are returning, I think finishing at 500 this year is more than realistic. I think finishing above 500, that would be great for this program going forward.
This is the big one. Now you said improving one game each of the last few years. This one would get you to 500. So this is the one that really kind of makes you more legitimate of a threat across the conference and really can open some eyes across the OAC. So it'll be really interesting to see if they can make that jump this year. Obviously, it starts here today.
Blake Middleton, the freshman out of Miamisburg, Ohio, will be kicking things away for Capital. The umbrellas are definitely out because of the rain pouring from the skies, but in any case, we are ready for football. Mount St. Joe's will have A.J. Glines back there to return, as well as Nick Murphy.
Longest kick return last season for Mount St. Joe's was just 27 yards, Charlie.
Middleton, right-footed kicker, sends it skyward. We're underway here in Bexley. To the 30, to the 35, to the 40, and a decent return on the play by A.J. Glines, the junior out of Harrison, Ohio. So now we get our first look at Mount St. Joe's offense. Starting running back for the Lions will be Corey Hastings. The wide receivers will be Kendall Sproul and Grayson Roberts, as well as A.J. Glines. The offensive line, Chase Bryce, left tackle, Max Swoboda, the left guard. The center is Cole Tepe. The right guard is Brad Murphy. The right tackle is Carson Adams. And the starting quarterback out of Mount Orab is Chayton Tomlinson. And the ball is loose. It was an incomplete pass as Tomlin was trying to hit a wide receiver to begin this ball game.
You see, again, this spread look. 4 wide receivers spread out. They fake a handoff and try to go quick with an underneath pass, which is basically a pseudo run play for this kind of offense.
2nd and 10. Lions at their own 40-yard line to begin this game. Snap back. Now it is a handoff to the running back. That would be, let's see here, Nyquan Presswood in there at tailback, 5'10" sophomore out of Cincinnati. The starting defense for Capital looks like this. Justin Scott and Corey Mays are your defensive ends. The defensive tackles, Drew Seelig and Bobby Austria. The linebackers, Kay Murray, Derek Ebon, Jason Campbell. Cornerbacks are Jordan Duncan and LaShawn Sanders Jr., and the safeties are Eric Strosky and Austin White. 3rd and 6. Back to pass is Tomlin, and Tomlin has the pass picked off. What a start for the Capital defense right there as they were able to coax Tomlin into a turnover.
Derek Ebon, the linebacker, reading the eyes of the quarterback there and basically went right to him. And that's a big play, not only for getting that turnover like we've been talking about throughout this pregame, Charlie, but look at where Capital is going to start this drive now in Mount St. Joe's territory at the 49-yard line. If they just get a stop there and a punt, they'd still have to go the length of the field. So this is a really big opportunity now for the Capital offense, and let's see if they take a shot early.
Capital O now out on the field. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Crusaders from the Lions' 49-yard line. Just underway here at Byrne-Lore Stadium. Wibbler in the shotgun, a receiver to each side of the field. Corey Heater is his tailback. He'll put a man in motion. Wibbler will now take the snap. He will throw, and it is complete to the 45-yard line as he is able to hit Dartavius Stanford on the pass. The starting offense for Capital, David Barnett, Nick Waters are the starting wide receivers. Hunter Smith at H-back. The left tackle, Zach Kenny. The left guard, Colter Thompson. The center is Logan Hernan. The right guard is Zach Clapper, and the right tackle is Edward Lehman. Trey Reese is your starting tight end. Corey Heater to the tailback. And Thomas Wibbler, the junior out of Zanesville, Ohio, the starting quarterback for the Crusaders. 2nd and 5 at the 44-yard line. They give us to Heater. Heater will jitterbug his way up the middle of the line, and he will take it to about the 43-yard line of the line. So only about a gain of a couple. This will bring up a 3rd and short situation for the Crusaders. Starting defense for the Lions, Nolan Miller, defensive end. Dustin Applegate at defensive tackle. Corey Harden also at defensive tackle. Logan Bright at defensive end. The linebackers, Sean Sullivan, Colby Webb, and Jermaine Drake. The cornerbacks are Tyler Hanna and Tavon Robertson. And the safeties are Gavin Edmondson and Peyton Williams. 3rd and 4. Wibbler back to pass. He will throw, and it's off the hands of Dartavius Stanford. Stanford was wide open over the middle, but wasn't able to secure the pass, and it looks like the Crusaders will punt the football away.
Yeah, hard to see. It might have been a little bit behind him on that throw, and I think the wet ball did have an impact on that throw as well. Here we are, 13:04. Each team has had a possession already. We haven't even had 2 minutes come off the clock.
Avery Wirt will now punt the football away. The freshman out of Delaware, Ohio for Capital, and back to receive for Mount St. Joe's will be A.J. Glines. Punt is away, high wobbler. This will have a lot of spin on it, I would imagine, as this will backpedal inside the 15. It'll roll inside the 10, and it'll take a nice Capital roll as they will finally down it at about the 8-yard line for the Lions. So now Mount St. Joe's, after turning it over on their first possession of the game, will head back out here offensively. By the way, I wanted to mention this about Derek Ebon. It's funny that you said that he saw the pass coming in, making that interception. He is studying optometry here at Capital. In fact, he did a couple of internships over the summer with optometrists within the family and stuff like that. So it makes sense that he was seeing the ball very well. That's what he wants to do as a profession. It'll be 1st and 10. The Lions at their own 8-yard line. The give is to the tailback. And a lot of running room out to the 15-yard line as it was Nyquan Presswood, the Cincinnati native, getting a big carry out of that one. Derek Ebon was able to get him on the play. Ebon, along with that linebacking crew, is expected to be the rock of the defense, and apparently there was a penalty on the play. It's a face mask penalty on Kane Murray, the linebacker out of Warren, Ohio. So that'll move the ball up a little bit. They will spot the ball now at the Lions' 34-yard line after the penalty.
And Nyquan Presswood, he's listed at second on the depth chart. It's a guy they really like. He's a sophomore, didn't get a carry last season, and has made his way all the way up to second on the depth chart. Keep an eye on him today.
1st and 10. 34, Presswood will take the carry to the 35, and he is finally upended on the play by Jordan Duncan, the junior out of Sunnyvale, California. So Capital doing a nice job right there of bottling up the run as Presswood has gone off to a decent start running the football. They'll bring up 2nd down and 6. Lions at their own 43-yard line. 3 wideouts to the near side, 1 to the far side. As Tomlin will set up in the shotgun. Presswood is his tailback. Tomlin will give to Presswood, and Presswood to the 40, and he will try to stretch it near the first down. Might be about a yard short, depends upon the spot. And it looks as though they will mark him about a yard short of the first down, setting up another 3rd and short situation.
Now, this is the thing, too. They probably did not scout Mount St. Joe's to run the ball this much, especially early in the game, but the weather's kind of dictated that, and it could kind of play to Mount St. Joe's advantage if they can work in some unique runs that Capital may have not game planned for.
3rd and 1, the Lions at their own 43-yard line. Tomlin in the shotgun. The give is to Presswood, and Presswood will have more than enough for the first down as he takes it across the 45 to the 47-yard line. First down for the Lions.
And really no reason to go away from this running attack right now. We'll see if they decide to maybe mix in some play action now that they're getting closer to midfield, but this has been working. I think you just keep feeding Presswood right now if you're the Mount.
Tomlin in the shotgun. 3 wideouts to his right, 1 to his left. And Presswood still the tailback. And the give is to Presswood once again. And this time Presswood drops the ball. But he is able to recover his own fumble that time. Presswood ran into his own offensive lineman. The ball got jarred loose. But thankfully for Presswood, he had the presence of mind of just falling back on the play. And boy, already we are seeing ball security being a factor in this game.
Yeah, Hastings will check back in at tailback now, and that is a big problem. If you're running into your own guys and losing control of the football, imagine getting hit by some of these linebackers.
So Corey Hastings will check in at tailback. 2nd down and 3 after the loss of 3. Lions back at their own 47-yard line. Tomlin will go back to pass, surveys the field, still looking. Now he's scrambling to his right, to the 45, to midfield, and he is finally tackled on the play by Eric Strosky, the senior out of Concord, Ohio.
Decent containment there. They did get about 5 back, but obviously preventing a big play, and really important that the 4-man rush was able to get so much pressure on the quarterback there. If you're able to get that much pressure with just the 4-men rushing, obviously allows you to have 7 in coverage and can really help the passing game.
After the scramble by Tomlin, 3rd and 7. The ball spotted at Capital's 49-yard line. Tomlin in the shotgun. He's got 5 wide receivers on the field, 3 to his left, 2 to his right. Tomlin takes a snap. We'll go back to pass. Now he's scrambling to midfield, to the 45, to the 40. He's got more than enough for the first down as he will finally be taken out of bounds at the 30-yard line. First down for the Lions as Tomlin showcasing his scrambling ability early on in this game.
And that's kind of a new dynamic for him. His longest carry last season was just 12 yards. Obviously, he's shown the ability to be quite mobile early in this game, but he was really not much of a runner from the quarterback position. Maybe he's kind of brought that into his game this year. 1st
and 10, Lions at Capital's 29-yard line. Still no score between the Lions and the Crusaders with just under 9.5 to play. It'll be another run, this time in the hands of Corey Hastings, a sophomore out of Dayton, Ohio. He went to Carroll High School back in his prep days, and it looks like a flag has been thrown onto the field.
Another face mask.
This time it'll go against James Zamore, a senior out of Cape Coral, Florida.
It's an issue, Charlie. That's 30 free yards they've given the Mount this possession.
So now the Lions marching deeper and deeper into Crusader territory. The ball will now be spotted. Let's see here. 1st and 10 inside the 20 at about the 17-yard line. Two wide receivers to each side of the field. The tailback is still Corey Hastings. Tomlin will go back to pass. Flag is thrown, and it'll be incomplete as he was trying to hook up with his wide receiver, Grayson Roberts, but I have a feeling that somebody along the line jumped for Capital.
Might have been an illegal. Yep, you're right. Offsides it was. That flag was thrown immediately at the snap. So maybe it's possible Tomlin saw that, and that's why he just took a shot into the end zone there, basically a free play.
I think the culprit on that play was Bobby Walker III, sophomore out of Columbus, went to Briggs High School here in Central Ohio. So now it'll be 1st and 5. The ball spotted at Capital's 7-yard line. Tomlin in the shotgun. 3 wideouts to his left, 1 to his right. Tomlin. Play fake. He's running 5 into the end zone. Touchdown, Lions. So an impressive offensive drive right there as Chayton Tomlin, the 5'10 sophomore out of Mount Orab, Ohio, marches the Lions down the field, culminating in a rushing touchdown.
That's his first career rushing touchdown, Charlie. Again, he's not really a runner. He didn't show that last year, but that was obviously a designed read option all the way. It might have even been a designed run with just a play fake built into it. But obviously Tomlin makes the right read. He had plenty of room to get in there.
So now Jerry Porter on for the point after for the Lions. Kick is up, and it is good. So it is Mount St. Joseph's who strikes first thanks to a rushing touchdown by Chayton Tomlin. Our early score, Mount St. Joe's 7, Capital nothing with 8:50 remaining in the first quarter. We will step aside for just a moment and be right back. You're listening to Capital Football here on athletics.capital.edu. Back here at Bernlohr Stadium, 8:50 remaining in the first quarter. Mount St. Joseph 7, Capital nothing. A 7-yard touchdown run by Lions quarterback Chayton Tomlin on what looked like a very impressive offensive drive for the Lions.
And running the ball too, Charlie. That's, again, not something they're really known for, but the weather conditions kind of forcing their hand in a way. And again, 30 yards and penalties as well for Capital helping out.
Kick is away. Preciado will take it to the 15, to the 20, to the 25, to the 30, to the 35, out towards the 40-yard line. A very nice return by Eddie Preciado, the junior out of Downey, California. And the Crusaders will have good field position as their offense trots back onto the field once again.
There's actually 35 yards of penalties with the offsides as well, setting up that touchdown. Preciado, though, that's a guy I really liked on this team, and I've been liking what I see from him from the wide receiver position, taking shots to him down the field. He's obviously not like a big volume receiver, I would say, but definitely one of those kind of playmakers that can come on to the field, stretch the field a little bit on a long pass.
Crusaders 1st and 10 at their own 40-yard line. A receiver to each side of the field. Wibbler in the pistol. He will give to Heater, and Heater will cut his way to about the 45-yard line, actually 46. So that'll be a gain of 6 for Corey Heater, the senior out of Circleville, Ohio. Went to Logum Elm High School. Measures at 5'8", 190 pounds. Wibbler quickly breaks the offensive huddle for Capital. Trey Reese in there at tight end. Heater remains the quarterback, and Barnett is split out wide to Wibbler's left. Man now put in motion. The give is to Heater. Heater trying to go around the left corner, and he will be knocked out of bounds at about the 49-yard line. So decent pickup on the play and a very close to a first down. The first down marker is directly at midfield. So this will set up a 3rd and 1 situation for the Crusaders as they look for their first down of the 2017 campaign.
And basically half a length of a football from the first down.
Receiver to each side of the field in this 3rd and 1 play. Wibbler once again in the pistol. Heater, his tailback, right behind him. Wibbler barking out the signals, and now he will go to the Capital sideline for some guidance. Changes the play up at the line of scrimmage. Wibbler will now go back in the pistol, back in formation, barking out more signals. Finally takes a snap, and now whistles, and it looks as though a false start is going to be called against Capital.
That might be on the center as well, because he's kind of moving the ball a couple of times, Cole Tepe. They call it on 79, though, so that's going to be the left guard.
No, actually, that's the center. You're right.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was the center.
Logan Herndon.
Yeah, he was moving the ball without snapping it a little bit, almost kind of like a hand-jerking reaction, and as a result, it's a good call, I think. I was going to mention something about kind of baiting Mount St. Joe's, trying to get him off sides there.
So it goes from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6. It'll back things up for Capital back to their own 44-yard line. Wibbler now in the shotgun. He'll take the snap. Wibbler will roll to his right. He will throw, and it is complete to Stanford. And was it enough for a first down? Looks like he might be about a yard short on the play. Decision time here for Chad Rogaszewski, because they're very close to the first down marker. And the offense is going to be coming off of the field.
He just didn't get deep enough on that route, but to Stanford's defense as well, he really had no choice but to cut that route short, because if he tried to stay at the sticks there, it was going to be an easy interception. He had to come back to the ball there.
Actually, a correction on that last play. It turns out he made the catch, but his feet were out of bounds, so that actually led to an incomplete pass. So the ball will still be spotted at the 44-yard line of Capital. Another punt for the Crusaders. The ball is punted away, and this is a wobbler that didn't look too good coming off of the foot of Wirt. And finally, it'll be down at about the 35-yard line. It could have been a lot worse, but could have been better.
Yeah, it almost looked like it was partially tipped. It wasn't, though. And maybe just the pressure there allowed that punt to get a little bit too much hang time. But going back to that third down play, Wibbler looked like it was a designed rollout, but there's just not a lot of blocking for him on that rollout. And he tries to find Stanford on the sideline, who did everything he could to stay by that marker. Apparently stepped out of bounds while he made that catch. And again, he was going to be short anyway. They needed to give Wibbler just a little bit more time to really roll out and get outside of the pocket there to make that throw.
1st and 10, the Lions at their own 34-yard line. Tomlin will throw, and it is complete out to the 39-yard line as he was able to hit his target, A.J. Glines. He's a junior out of Harrison, Ohio. Pickup of 4 on that last play.
There's really no defense for that. It was a back shoulder throw that was behind the receiver. It wasn't even in Tomlin's hands for 2 seconds when he made that throw.
2nd down and 5. Ball at the Lions' 39-yard line. 6:40 remaining in the first quarter. It's Mount St. Joe's 7, Capital nothing here in the early going. Tomlin will play fake it. He will throw, and it will be incomplete. Nice defensive play that time by Jordan Duncan, but now we might have a penalty here.
Very late flag. I think Duncan got there too early, but the official near the ball didn't make the play, didn't make the call. And the flag was thrown by the umpire standing on the Capital logo at midfield. And this might be something away from the ball. The side judge down here did not make the call. He would have been the one to throw the flag for any kind of interference or hold in the secondary by Duncan. And it might be a linebacker that held a receiver in the middle of the field. See what the call is.
There is no foul for an ineligible receiver downfield. The lineman was not yards.
So looking at alignment apparently for ineligibility downfield.
No, and sometimes that can be an issue with all these spread offenses. You know, you got linemen moving around as well. 3rd down and 5. Lions still at their own 39-yard line. Tomlin in the shotgun. He'll go back to pass. Capital bringing a blitz. Tomlin able to get out of it. He'll throw, and it is incomplete as he was trying to hook up with his target, Taj Martin, a freshman out of Cincinnati.
Yeah, great job rushing there by Eric Strosky. They brought a safety blitz. Really good move by Tomlin to evade the rush there, because Strosky was untouched just trying to get to the quarterback, and Tomlin kind of stepped aside, but at that point coverage was still very fine, and he really didn't get anything behind that throw. So good job, 1 in the downfield coverage, but 2 Strosky forcing Tomlin to be uncomfortable in the pocket.
Back to receive the punt will be Eddie Preciado for Capital. Preciado will have to backpedal. He'll take it near the 15, to the 20, to the 25, And now angling towards the 30-yard line to the 35. And boy, might have had, if he had a little bit more space, would have been able to turn in a big one. But still good field position for Capital as Preciado is able to take it out to the Crusader 40-yard line.
Now, last year, believe it or not, Charlie, Capital only returned 4 punts the entire season, and they had just 19 yards of returns off of these punts. And we've seen Preciado really make an impact already.
That is amazing to me. The entire season, they only had 4 punt returns.
Yep.
So now Capital will come back out offensively. Thomas Wibbler in the pistol, a receiver to each side of the field. David Barnett split out wide to the left, by the way, and Evan Butler is in at tailback. Wibbler, play fake, throws over the middle, caught by Barnett. No, it's a drop. Barnett dropped it around the 45-yard line, and boy, that would have been a spectacular catch. Defending on the play for Mount St. Joe's was Peyton Williams as well as Tavon Robertson.
I like the quick shot there as well. And bringing in Butler really kind of changes the pace. You'd think Butler's in, they're going to give him the ball, get him comfortable right away, and that makes that play action that much more effective.
So now it'll be 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Capital still at its own 40-yard line. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Another play fake, this time complete to Barnett to the 40. Stiff arms a man as he takes it out to the 45-yard line. So that'll only be a gain of about 5. Making the tackle on the play for Mount St. Joe's was Nathan Stone, a sophomore out of, guess who, Cincinnati. A lot of these guys, by the way, out from Mount St. Joe's, they are from the tri-state area, from Southwest Ohio. A lot of them hail from the Queen City. So now after the gain of 5, 3rd down and 5. Ball at Capital's 45-yard line as we are under 5.5 to play here in the first quarter. Mount St. Joe 7, Capital nothing. Thomas Wibbler will now run with the ball out across the 50 into Lions territory for the first down of the 2017 campaign. Big play there by Wibbler.
Yeah, design run all the way. Wibbler just takes that and goes straight up the middle on a quarterback blast and found the hole. Good job on the left side of that line, especially with the blocking there, and pretty easy pickup there.
And the knee looked good, which is the most important
thing. Yeah, and Coach said in the pregame he hasn't even been hit yet, so I guess it's kind of good to let him get hit a little bit early in the game, get him comfortable out there on the field. You don't want him being hesitant in the pocket or anything like that throughout this game. 1st and
10 for Capital. They're at the Lions' 47-yard line. Play fake once again, throw, and Barnett not able to get the pass in. Now a flag has been thrown. Defending on the play for Mount St. Joe's was Tavon Robertson.
Interesting to note, Charlie, Nick Iskey was on the field for that snap. He was kind of hiding behind the center a little bit. He didn't get ball, obviously, on that play, but keep an eye out there. There's 2 quarterbacks on the field right now for Capital, and we've seen some trick plays from Coach Rogo over last seasons.
So it was indeed pass interference against Mount St. Joe's, and that will move the ball up to the 35-yard line of the Lions.
He was like a fullback almost. You know how they send that fullback across the formation sometimes as a blocker, and that's how he was hidden, and can almost do like a hidden snap to him from underneath the center. Turn it into a double pass or a flea flicker type play, and there's a lot of options there, so keep an eye on that. It's interesting that he was in there.
1st and 10, Capital at the Lions' 35-yard line. Butler busting through to the 25, to the 20, to the 15, diving towards the 10-yard line before he is finally taken down. Evan Butler with a big run that time, and Capital's offense is definitely in business.
There's that change of pace again. That bruiser ran over a man and got another 20 yards because of it.
Capital going with some hurry up, and Butler is stopped stone cold in the backfield as he was met in the backfield by big old number 93, Corey Harden, the junior, out of Louisville, Kentucky.
Nick Iskey back in the game, Charlie.
Iskey expected to be the backup quarterback for Capital this year. After the loss of 1, it's 2nd down and 11. Well, really 2nd and goal from the 11-yard line. And now time has been called.
Yeah, need to reset the play clock, it looks like they're having issues with. And you can see Iskey there, number 12. He's kind of hanging out near the tight end Trey Reese right now. Be interesting if they send him across the formation again. Keep an eye on him.
Iskey definitely a big body. Barnett split out wide to the right. Wibbler to Butler, and Butler will dive forward inside the 10 to about the 9-yard line or so. So this will only be a minimal gain of about 2. Okay, so 3rd and goal, 9 yards away from pay dirt. What do you do here, Jimmy?
Well, it looks like they're bringing in some more receivers to throw the ball here. I saw Eddie Preciado get out there on the field. Looks like Connor McLeod as well, who we saw as a quarterback/receiver last year in the slot, now at the top of the screen. Stanford out wide.
Wibbler in the shotgun. Butler is his tailback. 2 wide outs to each side of the field. It's 3rd and goal from the Lions' 9-yard line. Wibbler back to pass. He's going to throw, and it is caught in the end zone. Touchdown, Crusaders.
It was Connor McLeod, who we saw make a bunch of plays for this team last year. Played some quarterback after Wibbler went down. Has played some halfback as well. And he found a nice little spot there as the slot receiver. They just send a crisscross route with him and Stanford on the outside, almost a pick play of sorts. And a perfectly thrown ball by Wibbler. He threw it at just the right time, right on the money to Connor McLeod for the touchdown.
What a catch by the junior from Reynoldsburg, Ohio, and Capital gets on the board. Now on for the extra point is Blake Middleton, freshman out of Miamisburg, Ohio. Snap back, hold down, kick is on the way, and it is good. We are knotted at 7 between Capital and Mount St. Joe's. 3 minutes, 17 seconds remain in our first quarter. Good offensive drive, Jimmy, by Capital. They were aided by some penalties here and there. But, man, for the most part, Thomas Wibbler looked very comfortable out there in the pocket. Again, he's coming off of a knee injury last year. And, boy, the weapons all of a sudden.
Yeah.
We talked about Barnett, but you talked about McLeod and what he brings to the table athletically. I mean, all of a sudden, Capital, they got a lot of people to work with on that side of the ball.
Sure, and Evan Butler was the main tailback there. He had the big run that kind of set them up in the red zone. Wibbler had a run as well on that 3rd down to pick up the 1st down. Good mixture of play calling, and we're seeing just different players come in for a play or two, but they make an impact. Connor McLeod being the obvious example there. That was actually his first career touchdown reception. He did have 6 catches for 94 yards last year. Also ran the ball 22 times for 120 yards and a touchdown. And, of course, was 27 for 47 throwing the ball with 5 touchdowns. So it's interesting how they're working him in. And, again, Nick Iskey was in the game. It'd be interesting to see what they do with him throughout the game if they're playing 2 quarterbacks on the field at the same time.
Blake Middleton will kick it away. It is taken by Cooper Earls, it looks like. Earls will take it to the 30-yard line, and that is where he's eventually dropped. And now Mount St. Joe's will come back onto the field offensively and see if they have a response for Capital.
Just one more point on that with McLeod as well. I mean, feasibly, you could have 3 quarterbacks on the field for Capital at the same time. And I know Coach Rogo likes to pull out those gadget plays. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on that throughout this one. In the secondary, last possession for Capital was their real strength. They had the safety blitz from Strowski on the 3rd down. Jordan Duncan had some nice pass breakup on the play before. So they're really starting to step up. They need to control this ground game right now from Mount St. Joe's.
Chayton Tomlin in the shotgun. 1 wide receiver to his left, 3 to his right. It's 1st and 10 for the Lions from their own 30-yard line. Tomlin will take the snap. He will survey the field. He will throw, and it is a quick strike to A.J. Glines, a guy that he has hooked up with a lot to begin this game. Takes it to the 36. No huddle offense now for the Lions as Tomlin will quickly get lined up in another shotgun formation. 3 wideouts to his left, 1 to his right. Hastings is his tailback at the moment. Tomlin still awaiting the snap. Claps his hands, finally takes it. They give us to the tailback. And a big run out to the 45-yard line by Corey Hastings, the sophomore out of Dayton. He was able to find a lot of running room on that play.
He was the 2nd leading rusher for the squad last season, averaging about 28 yards per game, 4 yards per carry.
1st down and 10 as the Lions took it out to their 45-yard line. Tomlin once again on the shotgun. He'll take the snap. He'll hand to Hastings once again, and Hastings will be dragged down eventually. Drew Seelig stuck his nose in there defensively, and I believe Derek Ebon was able to get in there as well. Yep, Ebon, the senior from Amherst, Ohio. Gain of 4 on that last play. 2nd down and 6, and boy, the Lions really like to go with tempo here apparently. Ball out to their own 49-yard line. Tomlin, once again, in the shotgun. He'll give to Hastings. He'll go around right end. Hastings is going to be tackled around the 50-yard line. And a nice job defensively there by Kane Murray, the junior out of Warren, Ohio, as he was able to come around the corner and stop Hastings.
Yeah, Hastings was really trying to get to the corner, as you mentioned, and it was actually White that kind of forced the action back to the middle of the field, and there was Murray to clean things up. So really good defensive scheme, actually, from the defense there, and Murray was right there to clean everything up.
3rd and 5. Ball spotted at midfield. Tomlin in the shotgun once again. One wide receiver to his right, 3 to his left. Hastings still the tailback. Tomlin will take a deep drop. He'll pass, and is it incomplete? Yes, it is. Trying to make the catch for Mount St. Joe's was Grayson Roberts, but he wasn't able to secure the ball properly along the near sideline, and that will force the Lions to punt.
I was waiting for when they would take that shot. Roberts has been isolated on Duncan basically the entire game, and they take a shot there on the 3rd down play, one-on-one coverage, and great coverage again from Duncan.
So now Eddie Preciado will come back out. Preciado has been showing me some good things in the return game so far.
I'm wondering if they're going to angle this punt here, trying to keep it away from him. He's had 2 nice returns so far.
The punt is away. High arcing kick, and he will fair catch it at about the 19-yard line. So good coverage on the play by the Lions, and now Capital will look to build upon their last offensive drive as Thomas Wibbler and crew comes back onto the field. 1:09 remaining in the first quarter. Tie ball game between Mount St. Joe's and Capital. A rushing touchdown for the Lions, courtesy of their quarterback, Chayton Tomlin. And then Capital was able to respond thanks to a touchdown throw from quarterback Thomas Wibbler to wide receiver Connor McLeod, who also plays quarterback on occasion for this Crusader squad. 1st and 10. Crusaders at their own 15-yard line. Wibbler in the shotgun, 2 wideouts to his left. The give now to Butler. Butler looking for a hole, and he will spin his way around the 15-yard line. And it looks as though that will only be a no gain on the play, actually.
And Coach again continuing to cycle in personnel. We see Hunter Smith out there, the running back, for the first time, and they were running a split backs pistol formation.
So after the no gainer, it'll be 2nd and 10. Capital still at their own 15-yard line. Under 40 seconds to play in the first quarter. Tied ball game 7-7 between Mount St. Joe's and Capital. As the rain continues to fall here in Bexley. Wibbler, play fake, throw back to Barnett. Barnett to the 15, to the 20, to the 25. He'll dive across the 25 to about the 27-yard line, and that should be enough for a Capital first down.
Yeah, kind of interesting that they're using Barnett almost in space more. He's a very big possession receiver that they've been throwing jump balls to in the past. Today, it looks like they're trying to get the ball in his hands and let him do something with his legs.
6'3", 215-pound sophomore out of Springfield, and my, oh my, he had himself a heck of a freshman campaign last year, hoping to build upon that. I think the sky's the limit for this guy at the wide receiver spot.
Sure is. He's a very gifted physical athlete and has really good chemistry with Wibbler. And as the quarter comes to an end here, just one more point on Barnett. With all the injuries that Capital suffered last season, he was the one main constant that they had and really made Nick Iskey and Connor McLeod's job a lot easier once Wibbler went down because he's just such a great receiver.
At the end of the first quarter, it is Capital 7, Mount St. Joe's. Likewise, we'll be back with second quarter action from Byrne-Lawrence Stadium in just a moment. Welcome back to Promort Field at Byrne-Lawrence Stadium. Alongside Jimmy Bloomfield, I'm Charlie Danis. Tie ball game, 7 apiece between Capital and Mount St. Joe's to open the 2017 season. Rain continuing to fall here in Bexley as the umbrellas are out here at the stadium. 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. The man put in motion. Wibbler will now give to Heater. Heater to the 35, or 25 to the 30. And this will be about a pickup of 4 on the play. Good to see Corey Heater back in there. He brings a lot to the table at the tailback position. Dealt with some injuries. He's dealt with plenty of injuries, actually, during his career here at Capital. A healthy season from Heater would go a long way for the Crusaders.
And he's gone from a halfback role to more of that split back role, back to his more natural tailback position. He felt a lot more comfortable in this offense last season.
Second down and 5. Capital at their own 31-yard line. 3 wideouts, split out wide to the right. Give us to Heater once again. Heater breaking tackles and hurdling some defenders as he takes it out to the 40-yard line for another Capital first down.
Real opportunity for Capital to take control of this game right now, Charlie, and they're starting to make a statement on the ground themselves.
Wibbler takes a snap. Play fake. Throw complete to the 45. And out to the 50 will be Dartavius Stanford. Stanford, a 5'10", 185-pound junior from Zanesville, Ohio. Played just up the street at Ohio Dominican at the Division II level, but decided to come on over here, and former high school teammates with Thomas Wibbler as well, who also went to Ohio Dominican at one point.
He's a nice little compliment to Barnett as well. He kind of got the speed guy with Barnett being that big possession receiver. It's a nice combination.
First down at midfield. Capital trying to keep this drive going. Wibbler will throw, and it is off the fingertips of Barnett as he went skyward to try to make that snag. And luckily for him, that just fell incomplete.
That throw was a little high from Wibbler. There's a lot of pressure coming down on him, 3 jerseys to be exact, and just a little bit too high for Barnett, who did try to go up and make a play for his quarterback.
So after the incompletion, it'll be second down and 10. Ball still at midfield. 13:38 remain in the second quarter. A tied game, 7 apiece between Capital and Mount St. Joseph's.
Barnett isolated at the top of the formation, one-on-one right now.
Wibbler will put a man in motion. He's in the shotgun right now. He'll now roll to his left. He will throw, and it is going to be over the head of Barnett. Also over there covering on the play defensively. Looked to be Peyton Williams, the sophomore out of Cincinnati.
I'm not really sure how he did it, but he did open himself up for that throw. It was just a little bit too far. Those rollout plays are not working right now for Capital. There's a lot of pressure getting to Wibbler. I don't know if it's a miscommunication up front with a moving offensive line. Obviously, you might think that you're blocking someone that you're not. So maybe that's the reason, though. Wibbler is not finding any kind of time on these rollout plays.
3rd and 10. Ball still at midfield. Wibbler will go back to pass. He will throw, and it is caught at the 25 to the 20. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! A perfect dart thrown by Wibbler as he was able to find Dartavius Stanford down the seam, and Capital takes its first lead of the game.
Wibbler stood tall there in the pocket as well. He got hit as he threw the ball. And again, this is a guy coming off injury, finding his old high school teammate for their first Capital connection.
And, oh, boy, man, Stanford can fly on down the field. As he was able to catch that ball, it was goodbye, senorita. So now on for the point after is Blake Middleton. Snap back, hold down. Kick is on the way, and it is good. First lead of the ball game for Capital, as the Crusaders now lead 14-7 with 13:25 remaining in the second quarter. Jimmy, we were talking about this early on in the broadcast about how excited Capital fans should be about all these different offensive weapons, and boy, you were talking about how Stanford is an excellent complement to the possession wide receiver of Barnett. He showed it on that last play.
Yeah, I think that's only going to make him more available for Wibbler moving forward. Quarterback likes when his receivers are going to make some plays for him. And again, really credit to Wibbler as well for standing in there, a guy that had a gruesome leg injury last season and is back and ready to play this season, and really just hasn't taken any hits before today's game. And just having him stand in the pocket, absorb some contact, and make a great throw. Obviously, he's been under a lot of duress early in today's game. To have receivers that are going to go make plays for you like that, you're going to stand in the pocket and take those hits.
Nick Murphy and A.J. Glines once again out there to receive the kick for the Lions. 14-7 in favor of Capital with 13:25 remaining in the second quarter. Glines will take it to the 15, to the 20, to the 25, and he will finally be spilled at about the 30-yard line. Making the tackle on special teams for Capital was Isaac Kennedy, freshman out of Asheville, Ohio. A couple of scores around the OAC here real quick. Mount Union leading North Carolina Wesleyan 41-0 with 14:55 remaining in the third quarter. John Carroll losing to Wisconsin Oshkosh 6-3 with 3:22 remaining in the first half of that game. Heidelberg up 26-17 over Olivet with 7:02 remaining in the first half, and they've gone to halftime at Muskingum. The Muskies leading Waynesburg 7-0 in that ball game. First and 10. Lions at their own 30-yard line. 3 wideouts to his left, 1 to his right, and the give is to The tailback, Naquan Presswood, getting the handoff from Chayton Tomlin, the sophomore quarterback who threw 28 touchdown passes a season ago as a freshman. Lions losing their first 3 games last year, but then rallying to finish at 6-4. 2nd and 7. Lions at their own 33. High snap, but Tomlin is able to handle it. Corey Mays is chasing after him, and a throw out of bounds, incomplete.
Yeah, it certainly messed up the timing, not catching that snap cleanly. A point on the receivers from Mount St. Joe's as well. We haven't brought up this fact that Garrett Weaver, their leading receiver, no longer with the program. He had 46 catches for 744 yards last year and 14 touchdowns. Their second receiver, Casey Cox, was a senior, so he was graduated. He had 300 yards last year. Their leading receiver is A.J. Glines, returning receiver, that is. He had just 24 catches last year for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. So they're still looking for those playmakers outside.
3rd and 7. Tomlin will go back to pass. He'll now scramble to his right, and he will complete it for a Lions first down, finding Grayson Roberts along the far sideline out to about the 44-yard line. And now the Lions will go with some more tempo here. We've seen tempo from both Capital and Mount St. Joseph.
Yeah, Roberts making his first catch of the game. He had 1 catch last season. He's one of those guys they're looking to step up, especially as a junior.
Tomlin will hand off now to Presswood. And Presswood with a minimal game right there, about 2 on the play as he was able to take it around right corner for a couple.
It is worth noting that Presswood was the feature back on their drive that they did score their touchdown, so they do go back to him. We've seen Hastings in there as well. They've had a nice little balance between the two of them today.
Tomlin in the shotgun, 3 wideouts to his left, 1 to his right. 2nd and 8. Lions at their own 46-yard line. Tomlin still awaiting the snap, finally gets it, throws, and it is almost intercepted. The intended target on the play was A.J. Glines, but sticking his nose in there, I believe, was Eric Strosky.
That's correct, and those quick hitters, if they're just off barely, it could go right to a Capital player. And credit Strosky as well for really reading that. They've thrown that ball 3 or 4 times today, and he's starting to get the timing on those a little bit more and more each time.
3rd and 8, Lions at their own 46-yard line. Tomlin in the shotgun once again. Tomlin takes a snap. He'll survey the field. Big rush coming from Capital, but Tomlin scrambles to his right. He'll now throw, and it is almost picked off once again as that ball was tipped up in the air a couple of times. Coming in on the play, I believe, was Michael LaWufo, the freshman out of Miamisburg, Ohio, backup linebacker. He was able to stick his hand up there, and now he forces a 4th down situation for the Lions.
Yeah, he was trying to catch it off that initial deflection. Kendall Sproul, the receiver, basically tackled him after that ball was tipped up in the air and really saved his quarterback from an interception. But again, we see 3rd down pressure from Capital bringing the blitz.
Preciado once again back to receive the punt. This ball will bounce at the 20, inside the 15, and it will come to a stop at about the 10-yard line, which is where they will eventually down it. So a long field to work with here for Capital. 11.5 to play in the second quarter. It is Capital 14, Mount St. Joseph 7. So glad that we could have you along for the ride, everybody, here on the officially the first Saturday of college football. I know that there have been some games that have been played on Thursdays and the week prior, but to me, this is really when college football gets started.
Yeah, I'm not as crazy of a fan either with the Friday games and the Sunday games because there's no NFL and all that. I would like them to just keep everything on Saturday, but it allows you to get obviously some big-time primetime matchups throughout the week. But today I agree with you. This is really the start of college football, if you ask me, even though our Buckeyes are 1-0.
That's true. On Thursday, Victors over Indiana. Heater will take it across the 10, near the 15-yard line as Corey Heater out of Circleville, Ohio, gets the carry there for Capital.
Iskey back in for Cap as well again. They actually ran him out on a route the last time he was in. So they might throw him the ball. They could always do some kind of double pass again. Very interesting to have him out there as kind of a tight end.
The offense is starting to build here for Capital. Coming off of a scoring drive, culminating with a long touchdown pass from Thomas Wibbler to Dartavio Stanford, as the Corey Heater will take it to about the 19-yard line or so. Another good scamper for Heater, the senior, again trying to put together a healthy campaign here as injuries have dogged him here during his career at Capital. Setting up a 3rd and 2 situation now for the Crusaders as Capital finds themselves at their own 19-yard line as we approach 10.5 to play in the second quarter. Capital 14, Mount St. Joseph 7 is your score at Premort Field at Bernlohr Stadium. Wibbler will now take the snap. He'll hand to Heater. Heater's got a lane to the 25, to the 30, to the 35, and he'll be banged out of bounds around the 40-yard line. Heater showing some burst around the right corner and taking it down the sideline for a little extra.
And Iskey had the big block there that really sprung him. It's very interesting to have your backup quarterback being a lead blocker, but he's a big boy, 6 foot flat and 200 pounds. It's not your normal quarterback dimensions, so you have a great player in Iskey with a great game sense. Get him out there on the field, and he springs Heater.
Corey Heater so far 7 carries for 8 carries for 60 yards in this game so far. Off to a nice start. Wilbur will throw, and again it is off the hands of Barnett as he continues to struggle catching the football. In the vicinity defensively for Mount St. Joseph was Tavon Robertson.
And we'll try to get a quick update on the stats here once we get some downtime, but if you're interested in Wibbler, though, 6 for 12 in this one.
So after the incompletion, it is now 1st and 10. Ball spotted at Capital's 40-yard line. The Crusaders leading Mount St. Joseph 14-7 with 9:50 remaining in our first half. Wibbler in the shotgun. He'll now hand to Heater. Heater to the 40, and Heater will take it to about the 45-yard line. A gain of 5 on the play, and Heater's been getting off to a nice start here. That now gives him 65 rushing yards on the afternoon so far. He had a long run of 21 just a moment ago.
It's the second run for Capital over 20 yards.
2nd down and 5. Ball at Capital's 45-yard line. Capital so far in this game with 95 rushing yards as a team and 87 yards passing. Grand total of 182 yards on offense. Wibbler in the shotgun. 2 wideouts, 2 each side. Heater is his tailback. Wibbler, play fake. He'll now throw over to Barnett, and it will be complete to about the 45-yard line. Actually, my mistake. That was Corey Heater, coming out of the backfield.
Tried to bluff a run to the left and then come back on a weak side screen pass. And not fooled was the defense from the Mount.
And that was a 3rd down play, so that will actually bring up 4th down. Capital will have to punt it away, which means Avery Wirt will make another appearance onto the field for punting duties. Meanwhile, I believe Michael Tucker is back out there to receive the kick from Mount St. Joe's. Tucker settling under it, and he will take it at the 20-yard line. Boy, didn't fair catch that. That was a bad decision on his part.
Yeah, 5 purple jerseys hugging him as soon as you catch the football. It's actually amazing he hung on to it.
Considering all the wet weather that we've been having here as of late. As we look at the skies right now, the rain is starting to calm down just a little bit. Still see a lot of umbrellas here at Bernlohr Stadium, but hey, at least the wet stuff is starting to lessen it up a little bit.
Yeah, we haven't seen the rain become as much of an issue as we thought. There's been some drop passes, but just the one fumble, and it was from a Mount's running back running into his own lineman.
1st and 10. The Lions at their own 21-yard line. 8:23 remain in the second quarter. Capital 14, Mount St. Joseph 7. Tomlin, play fake. He'll now have to take off to the 20, to the 25, and he will be upended by Eric Strosky, as he was able to make something out of nothing that time. In fact, I believe that was a gain of 6 on that last play for Tomlin. 3 wideouts to his left now, 1 to his right as Mount St. Joe's decides to go back to the hurry-up offense. Tomlin claps his hands. He'll now give off the ball to Presswood, who has been splitting tailback duties with Hastings, excuse me. And after the run, it'll bring up a 3rd down and 3. Lions at their own 28-yard line. Tomlin in the shotgun, 2 wideouts to each side of the field.
Tomlin already 47 yards on the ground rushing.
Presswood still the tailback. Tomlin awaiting the snap. He has it. He'll go back to pass. He'll throw, and it is caught over the 40-yard line. Impressive throw by Tomlin as he threw it over a Capital defender, completing it to A.J. Glines. Glines with his 3rd reception of the game, and it's more than enough for a Lions first down.
That was an NFL catch, too. Got both feet in there down the sideline. Finds the main receiver from last year returning, and it's not surprising to see Tomlin go to him so often.
So it'll now be 1st and 10. Ball out to the 39-yard line for the Lions. Tomlin will hand off. And a minimal gain on the play for the ball carrier, Naquan Presswood. Coming in to make the stop was Kay Murray.
What I'm looking at here, Tomlin throwing the ball, Chanton Tomlin, 33 yards, 4 for 13. Obviously not being very efficient today. He's had the short passes that have been working, but anything that's kind of been of any length, not a whole lot of success today.
2nd down and 9. Tomlin in trouble, and he goes down at the 35-yard line. Bringing the pressure on the play for Capital was Kobe Swackhammer, which is a tremendous name, I might add, and James Zamora also making an impact back there as well.
We've seen them getting to Tomlin. Tomlin's been evading that rush. Finally, they get that first sack, and it sets up a long 3rd down in which the secondary has been doing a great job today. This is a really good situation for the Crusaders.
3rd and long for the Lions, 3rd and 14 as they're backed up now at the 35-yard line. 3 wide outs to the left, 2 to the right. Tomlin, he'll go back to pass. He'll scramble to his left. Still looking, he'll throw, and it is caught at the 40-yard line. A nice read by Tomlin as he was able to find his wideout DJ Martin, the sophomore out of Cincinnati. And that will be more than enough for a first down for the Lions. Kind of a busted coverage situation right there.
Yeah, Capital showed blitz, and then they dropped 8 back in coverage, and Martin just found himself a nice little available spot in between a few zones there when Tomlin forced the issue, getting outside the pocket again.
Tomlin to Presswood, and Presswood with a minimal gain of about 1 as he was taken down on the play by Wayne Ray Jr. He is a freshman out of Columbus, went to Whetstone back in his prep days. 2nd down and 9 now. Lions at Capital's 35-yard line. Capital sporting a 14-7 lead, approaching 5 minutes to play in the 2nd quarter. Tomlin, once again, will go back to pass. Quick throw, and it is off the hands of his intended target, DJ Martin.
Try to go right back to him. It's 3rd and 9 again. It'll be interesting to see if Capital brings the pressure again. They bluffed it last time on the 3rd and long. 3rd and 9, I think you could blitz here. See what coach decides to do.
Tomlin, once again on the shotgun, a receiver to the near side, 3 to the far side. Tomlin, he'll now go back to pass. Pressure buried down on him. Tomlin, he is going to throw it out of bounds. Boy, the pressure was just too much for Tomlin that time. Bearing down on him was Justin Scott, the junior out of National City, California.
And John Eaton came on the blitz, and that's what really messed up the coverage up front there for Mount St. Joe's. This is an interesting call. I guess outside of field goal range, they're going to try a 4th and 9.
So Tomlin will set up in the shotgun. 3 wideouts to his right, 1 to his left. Tomlin still awaiting the snap on this 4th and 9 from the Crusaders 35, and it will be caught right at the first down marker at the 25. Clutch play that time as Tomlin was able to find Michael Tucker on the reception.
Freshman with his first career catch, and it's a big one, moving the sticks. Very soft coverage there on that 4th and 9 from Cap.
1st and 10. Lions at Capital's 24-yard line. Tomlin will go up top, and it is going to be incomplete. His intended target on the play was Grayson Roberts. Defending on the play for Capital was Jordan Duncan. And now a flag has been thrown.
They called Duncan for unsportsmanlike for demonstrating an incomplete pass signal. I mean, he made a big play. I don't know how you can call a 15-yard penalty on that. Unless he said something.
He must have said something. Because how many times do you see defensive backs after an incomplete pass, wave their arms like a bird like that or a helicopter?
Yeah, he must have. I'm going off the impression that he said something as he made that signal. It was a nice play by Duncan, and I don't understand why they continue to keep picking on him as well in those one-on-one situations because Duncan has not allowed a first down yet.
After the penalty, it's 1st and 10. Lions at Capital's 12-yard line with 4:27 to play in our first half. Tomlin in the shotgun, 3 wideouts to his right, 1 to his left. And now the give to the tailback, Hastings. Corey Hastings, sophomore out of Dayton. He'll take it to about the 10-yard line, so that'll be a gain of about 2 on the play.
50 penalty yards for Capital, by the way, and those are all defensive penalty yards as well.
I'm sure the defensive staff is going to have a little chit-chat about that at halftime.
Other than the one false start, they've had 3 unsportsmanlikes, or 2 face masks, and a personal foul.
Tomlin, he'll go back to pass. Another long throw, and it is nowhere near anybody. There must have been a miscommunication right there. I think he was trying to hook up with Mohil Michu, but Michu darted one way while he was supposed to go another way.
And the other receiver did a hook route there, DJ Martin, so no one was there. Duncan was face guarding the receiver. If he was looking at the quarterback, he might have had himself an interception, not saying that he should have been doing that, but obviously the miscommunication leads to throw into no man's land, and a big timeout will set up a 3rd down now. Down by 7, and this might be 4-down territory again.
So a timeout taken by Mount St. Joseph. 3:55 remaining in the second quarter. Capital leading Mount St. Joseph 14-7. Coming up at halftime, we are going to be joined by a very special guest, that being the newly appointed athletic director here at Capital, Mr. Roger Ingalls. I'm very excited to sit down with him and talk about the transition that he has made. He was previously the athletic director at Ohio Wesleyan, decided to come on over here and be the athletic director for the Purple and White, and from what I understand, he's got big plans for the Crusaders, Jimmy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he has to say about everything, and he's been very active on Twitter and social media, which is nice to see.
So now a big play here, 3rd and 8. From Capital's 10-yard line, Mount St. Joseph with the ball. Tomlin in the shotgun, 3 wideouts to his right, 1 to his left. Hastings is his tailback. Tomlin will go up top once again, and it's going to be incomplete. The intended target was A.J. Glines. In the vicinity defensively for Capital was Sean Facione.
He threw it too far, too. Went through the back of the end zone. Mount St. Joseph is going to elect to go to the field goal unit. Porter was very good on that extra point. It was drilled right down the middle, so looks like they have a pretty good kicker.
Porter, junior out of Cincinnati, went to Elder High School back in the day. What's called a high school football game at Elder. They have a famous facility called the Pit. It is something to behold. The kick is on the way, and it is good. So Mount St. Joseph will draw to within 4 after the field goal made by Jerry Porter. Our score, Capital 14, Mount St. Joseph 10 with 3:45 remaining in our first half. Again, stay tuned for the Crusaders halftime show where we plan on talking with Capital Athletic Director Roger Ingalls. We'll also get you updated with all the scores around the OAC. And, it's not just an active day here college football-wise in Division III, but also in Division I as well, Jimmy.
Yeah, not a whole lot of, big-name games going on right now across college football. Clemson is destroying Kent State. Probably the biggest one would be the game between Texas and Maryland.
And the Longhorns are not doing so well from what I understand.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit closer. Texas is ranked 23rd, and they do have some ties to the Columbus area with Tom Herman being the head coach now, and he was the former coach at Ohio State. Texas is down 30-10, 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. So again, it's been a blowout earlier. It was 30-7 at one point, so Texas is climbing their way back. Penn State also up 38-0 on Akron. And the big one that everyone's kind of looking for this afternoon would be Michigan and Florida.
And then later on tonight, Florida State and Alabama, 1 versus 3. Preciado will take it at the 2-yard line to the 5, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, to the 25. And Preciado trying to squirt his way to the 30. He'll be taken down at about the 29-yard line. Another decent return by Mary Preciado, who's been really impressive in the return game tonight.
This is a big stretch of the game right here. Capital is getting the ball back at halftime, remember, so they'll start with possession. And they have 3.5 minutes now to try to add on to this lead, theoretically. They can get a touchdown and then get a touchdown at the start of the next half. They're looking at a 3-possession game. Obviously, we're getting way ahead of ourselves there, but that's what's at stake here for Mount St. Joe's defensively. They need a big stop.
Kevin Butler back in a tailback for Capital. Thomas Wibbler, meanwhile, in the shotgun. Barnett split out wide to the left. A couple wide receivers split out wide to the right. Wibbler, play fake, throw. Barnett makes the tough catch. No, he drops it, and it's a fumble. And now a whistle, and they're going to say that it is an incomplete pass. At least I think that's – no, they're –
called him down because he recovered the fumble on the ground.
So it is a fumble. Mount St. Joseph with the recovery.
That goes back to the whole football move that you hear a lot.
Yep.
And it looked like he caught it and turned upfield and then dropped the football. So I don't technically disagree with that call. We don't have the benefit of any kind of replay or anything like that.
Boy, it's been a tough day for Barnett so far.
That was the same play earlier where he dropped the pass on his first drop of the game. They ran it from the other side of the field this time, and it looked like Capital was cruising to midfield, and unfortunately he drops the football, and now Mount can steal a lead here at the end of the half. It's a big turnover.
1st and 10, Lions at Capital's 45-yard line after the turnover. Greenwood around the edge, and he'll be bumped out of bounds somewhere around the 35-yard line, enough for a Lions first down.
They called him out actually at the 37.
Okay.
Which I did not see either. It looks like he got a first down for me up here. Is a good break there for Capital to keep him in front of the marker for now.
2nd and 2. The Lions at Cap's 37-yard line. Tomlin once again on the shotgun. Tomlin will give to Greenwood. No, he'll keep it. Tomlin to the 40. And Tomlin trying to throw. He's got a man wide open, and it was just led a little bit too far that time. Jimmy, I saw you pointing towards, he was really wide open that time. I think that was Nariah Brooks that might have gotten free a little bit.
Nick Parker, looks like
Nick
38.
Parker, yeah.
And Tomlin that was a designed run, I think, and Parker just kind of just streaked open. No one from Capital even looked at him. Tomlin had the ball tucked under his left arm and was trying to get it back into his right hand while rolling to his left to make a throw across his body. No small task, and that's why you see the inaccurate pass.
Sounds like a lot going on at that moment. 3rd and 2. The Lions at Capital's 37-yard line. Tomlin will now run straight up the middle, and Tomlin will dive across the 35, inside the 35 to the 33-yard line for a Lions first down.
This is just very surprising to me. Tomlin is 6 for 21 throwing the football. He's 61% last year. Running the ball, though, he's got almost 40 yards now on 6 attempts. Presswood also has 40 on 12 attempts. And they're really doing the damage on the ground as opposed to through the air. And Tomlin using his legs more than he's ever done in any collegiate game.
Looks like those wind sprints in the offseason really paid off. Nice push up front by the Cap defense as they were able to smother Hastings in the backfield. Leading the charge defensively for Capital was James Zamore, a guy who we have been calling his name a lot today.
Yeah, that number one halftime adjustment from coach is going to be how they can contain the run game from Tomlin, because I can promise they did not really anticipate Tomlin running as much as he has.
2nd down and 11. The Lions at Capital's 34-yard line. Play fake. Tomlin will go up top, and it is batted away at the last second by LaShawn Sanders Jr. Intended target on the play was Grayson Roberts.
That throw was a good throw, maybe a little bit short to Roberts. And Sanders with that last bit of seconds of closing in there, getting his hand up. I think if they could get 7 yards or so, they might try the long field goal with the way that Porter's been kicking it. We'll see how they decide to use things.
3rd and 11. Lions still at Capital's 34-yard line. 2 minutes remaining in our first half. Capital 14, Mount St. Joe's 10. Tomlin will go back to pass. Looking, still looking. Now he'll throw it up top, and it will be caught in the end zone for a touchdown. Wow, what a catch by DJ Martin as he made that catch in between 2 Capital defenders. A lot of traffic in the end zone. Martin comes down with it.
Yeah, it was kind of a perplexing route. I don't know if that was the design of the play, because there was really 3 players that could have caught the ball for either team where that ball was thrown up. Almost a Hail Mary of sorts, but the person that had the best read on it was the man that ended up making that catch for the touchdown.
Jerry Porter, the junior out of Cincinnati, looking to put Mount St. Joe's up by 3 with the extra point. Snap back, hold down. Kick is on the way, and it is good. Minute 51 remaining in our first half. Mount St. Joe's 17, Capital 14. Boy, Jimmy, we've had ourselves an entertaining ball game. A back-and-forth affair between these 2 teams.
Yeah, that fumble by Barnett could loom large here as we look back at the end of this game, and a chance for him to rebound now with 1:50. They're still going to have to keep going to him. You know, you can't just remove him from the game plan because of a mistake he made. So we'll see how he can make up for it. They've got some good playmakers in this offense that can make some plays. Preciado on the outside. Stanford has a 50-yard touchdown already today. So we've seen some playmaking ability from these guys.
So now Capital will try to mount a response offensively, seeing that they are down by 3. They have all 3 of their timeouts remaining as well. So this will be a gut check time here for Thomas Wibbler and company. And, hey, maybe just maybe Eddie Preciado can give Capital another good return here. He is back to receive along with Dylan Schoonover, a 5'7" freshman from Grove City. Now St. Joe's getting to kick it away. Jerry Porter, who's been very good, kicking the ball for the Lions here this afternoon so far, sends it deep. Preciado will catch it at the 5, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, to the 25. And he will dive towards the 30, where he is finally taken down at the 29-yard line.
He had a really good running lane there, but he just had to keep bouncing back and forth, and it's pretty hard to hold a block for 8 to 10 seconds like that. But very promising. Don't be surprised later this season to find him break one off or maybe 2.
He's definitely got the moves. He's definitely got the speed to do just that. So now Wibbler and company will come back onto the field, working with 1:42 remaining here. Again, all 3 timeouts remaining for Capital, so it is very conceivable for them to get the ball down the field and at the very least tie this ball game before the end of the first half.
See how aggressive the play calling is early in the drive.
Wibbler will give to Heater, and Heater trying to spin off a tackle, but he's stopped cold at the 30-yard line, so only a gain of about 1 on the play.
I'm not surprised to see that. They might be content to just go into the locker room down by 3, start off the half, make their adjustments, and get the ball. They are moving a little bit quick here, though.
Wibbler with 2 wide receivers to his left and 1 to his right. He'll go back to pass. He'll throw, and it is, almost a spectacular one-handed grab by Dartavius Stanford as he was trying to reach out and catch it with his left hand, but it just went off his fingertips.
It was a very risky pass as well, but a nice one. Floated in between 4 players right in the middle of that zone. You said it, almost an incredible one-handed catch. McLeod back in the game as well for Capital here on the 3rd down.
Wibbler in the shotgun. 3 wideouts to his left, 1 to his right. Peter is his tailback. It's 3rd and 9, Capital at their own 30-yard line. Wibbler will go back to pass, and Wibbler will throw, and it is incomplete. Trying to find his intended target on the near sideline, that being Preciado. So now Capital will give the ball right back to Mount St. Joe's here with 1:09 remaining in the second quarter.
Yeah, and the issue now, you give Mount some time here, 1:09. They have 2 timeouts and a very good kicker. And the rain has picked up once again, so it will make it more difficult to get some distance on it, but there is no wind.
So now Avery Wirt back out there for Capital. This would be a good time for a booming kick. Wirt still away in the snap. Low snap, but he's able to gather it. Gets off a decent kick. It will bounce, and it will take a Lions bounce around the 40-yard line, and they will down it promptly at the 41. Did Mount St. Joe's have enough players on the field, Jimmy?
Yeah, I've been counting. They did have enough. They had one come on the field pretty late there to get into the formation. It's not the last time either.
So now it's 1st and 10 for the Lions at their own 42. 59.6 seconds remain in our first half. Capital trailing Mount St. Joe's 17-14 here in the 2017 season opener. Chayton Tomlin back onto the field with the rest of the Mount St. Joe's offense. Tomlin 7 of 23 through the air with an interception, 108 passing yards and a passing touchdown. He's also run the ball 6 times for 39 yards and a score. Tomlin will now hand off. It'll be a run for Presswood, and he will be promptly stopped around the 40-yard line, making the tackle. Guess who? James Zamore.
Yeah, no timeout from Cap, and I think Mount St. Joe's is content to let things run down as well. They've made some plays in the passing game, but Tomlin just 7 for 23 throwing the football. Very inefficient. You don't want him to throw an interception either and give Capital a chance. So we'll probably see one more run play and head into the locker room down 3.
27 seconds and counting. 2nd and 10. Lions at their own 41-yard line, sporting a 3-point lead over Capital, 17-14. And the give, once again, is to Presswood, as he dives across the 45-yard line, and that will probably be the end of the first half. And it looks like it will be, as we're under 5, 4, 3, 2. Yep, that'll be the end of the first half. At the end of the first half, it's Mount St. Joseph 17, Capital 14. Coming up, the Crusaders halftime show. We'll get you caught up with all the scores around the OAC and much more. You're listening to Capital Football here on athletics.capital.edu. Welcome into the Crusaders halftime show. At the half, it is Mount St. Joseph 17, Capital 14. I'm Charlie Danis, and joining us now, a very special guest, the new athletic director for Capital University. That would be Mr. Roger Ingalls. Roger, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, Charlie, thanks for having me. It's a great day for football, and it's been an interesting first half.
Yes, it has been. So, Roger, before we get to what you've been doing here at Capital, how the transition has been going, tell me about your career a little bit, because people like to be athletes, they like to be coaches. Athletic director, it's a very interesting job.
Yeah, it really is. It's, I get interviewed all the time from students, and they'll say, what's a typical day as an athletic director? And you look at them, there is no typical day in Division III. You got to wear a lot of hats, and you got to do a lot of different things, and I think to do it, you got to have a pretty good family support system, and you got to have some great people on your staff. And I've got both of those here, and it's been great. It's a good experience. It's as a coach, you're kind of taking care of one team, and as an athletic director, we're taking care of 20.
So tell me about the process, about how you came here to Capital.
Sure. I coached high school for 2 years after I got out of college at Ohio State, and then went back to Ohio State as a graduate assistant for 2 years as an assistant baseball coach. Went up to Ohio Wesleyan coaching baseball and football, and was there for the vast majority of my career, I guess, after 2 years there at Ohio State. And worked my way up as a baseball coach, became an assistant athletic director, then an associate athletic director, and then became athletic director there in 2004. And, I think everybody gets to that point in their career where you want to try something a little different. We did a lot of really good things up there, but I knew a couple years ago that I wanted to find the right opportunity to go someplace and do a little something different, and do something at a place where I thought we had a chance to be one of the premier programs in the country. And the Capital position came open. And one of the first things I did was reach out to a really good friend of mine who was the president of Ohio Wesleyan when I was hired as athletic director, Dr. Tom Cordes. And Tom had been involved through the search process here at Capital for Dr. Beth Paul. And I talked to him and asked him about what was going on here and what he thought about Dr. Paul and the direction of Capital. And when I got off the phone, I knew that this was the right place, and applied for the position and was fortunate enough to get it, and have not regretted it 1 second. I'm really excited about what we're doing here and where we're going and the direction and future of Capital Athletics.
We're talking with Capital Athletic Director Roger Ingalls. So Talk to me about the transition, what you've been doing so far. You officially started in July, correct?
Actually, June 1st.
Oh, June, okay.
Doing a little bit of work, over the course of the spring. Took the job there in March and felt like I kind of owed it to Ohio Wesleyan to stick out through the spring and get them to the end of the spring. And came down here June 1st. It's been spending a lot of time just getting to know people. Had a lot of opportunity to meet the different folks on campus and in the community. Did a lot of one-on-ones with our coaches, trying to find out where they're at and what their needs and hopes are for their programs. And done some hiring. We hired a new men and women's tennis coach, Troy Patterson, who I think is going to do an outstanding job here. And right before I came, we hired a new administrative assistant, Amy Durer, who's doing a great job for us. And then we hired an assistant athletic director, Dustin Rudiger, who came in about a month and a half or so, I guess, after I came on board. And Dustin I knew very well because he was my assistant up at Ohio Wesleyan, and was really fortunate to get him to follow us down. And his wife teaches over here at Whitehall, and they live nearby, so this was a great fit for him. And so I've got familiarity with him, and then I inherited a great staff, and I want to give thanks to Steve Bruning for the way he left the program and the position it's in. He's done a great job with Capital Athletic Program, and to inherit coaches like Dixie Jeffers and Damon Goodwin and Chad Rogaszewski and Dan Payne. I mean, we have some great coaches on staff, and I just really have enjoyed working with them so far.
Let's talk about Capital when it comes to the community here in Bexley. Bexley is a very interesting community. A lot of growth has been taking place over the last couple years. What does Capital plan on doing when it comes to outreach here in the community?
Well, we've got all the teams. We want all the teams to get involved in community service. As we told the student athletes, we had an all-athlete meeting the first week of school. And we told the student athletes that, you only get back what you give. So we want to get the kids out in the community, and football did a great job of that early on. As soon as they broke camp, they had a lot of different projects that they were working on. We want to get our kids in the schools. We want to get them out doing community service projects, and get the community to look at Capital as a partner, not as just that school up off of Main Street. And so we're doing that. We're reaching out, trying to develop some partnership deals with some of our local businesses and groups, and looking at it as, you want to treat it as a two-way street. It's something I did at my last institution where we got a lot of community involvement into the program. We want to do some community days where we get people in, maybe do a business expo this winter in our field house, and connect it with a basketball game or a doubleheader where we have the local businesses come in and kind of showcase what they can do, invite the community in for both basketball and that. And so the more outreach we can do that way, the better off we'll be as a university. And, we can sell our kids, Charlie, and that Bexley and Columbus, Ohio are great places to be. And when you get them out and you get them exposed, they start to develop connections. And, we want our graduates to get out here and get great jobs, but there's nothing better than getting a great job and living here in Columbus.
Oh, and I can speak to that with me living here in the Columbus area, talking with Roger Ingalls, the athletic director here at Capital University. Let's now talk about the nuts and bolts here of athletics. Facilities are always very important. Keeping the alumni happy are always important. What are your plans when it comes to welcoming back former athletes, keeping them in the loop as to what it pertains to the current state of Capital Athletics, not only presently but also in the future as well?
Well, the first thing we got to do is get everybody on board with what our vision of the athletic program is. It's a part of the academic mission here at Capital. We want to make sure that we're developing leaders not only in the community but also in their professions when they leave here, and that it's a scholar-athlete approach, not just an athlete approach, and that they're just as serious in the classroom as they are out on the field. So once we get everybody on board with the notion of where we're heading with that, then we've got to get our alumni involved and engaged. And there's so many different ways that they can help us. Crusaders out there at the high school level, being involved in the programs, hosting events in their local communities, coming to games. There's just a lot of ways. Financially, you mentioned something, with facilities. We have some great facilities here. This Cap Center is incredible. Basketball arena, you don't get to host a national championship in 2020 in volleyball and basketball unless you have a great facility, which we do. The football stadium is awesome, with soccer and lacrosse both playing here. but we got some needs, and we need to redo our tennis courts, either rebuild them and relocate them somewhere else, or do something with them. We need to improve our baseball and softball facilities, and whether that could be new or renovating where we're at. We need probably another second turf field somewhere, which would not only enhance athletics but would enhance recreation and club opportunities. So we're going to have probably a big picture approach. I just came from a place where we did over $40-some million in athletic and recreational facilities. I don't think we're anywhere near needing to do that level here, but we're going to have to spend some money and do that. We're going to have our alumni and local businesses engaged with us.
And finally, I understand that you are very active in social media, getting together with people, meeting different people. Tell me about that.
Well, I think that's kind of the wave of the world right now. Is that social media? It's I love doing podcasts. I just did one with Alex Hasty the other day that we did his series, Ohio versus the World, I think it was. We did a series on baseball talking about Branch Rickey. Love Twitter, Facebook. It's a great way to stay in touch. A lot of my former athletes. There's no better way to see what's going on in their family and stuff. Follow them on Facebook, what they're doing. And Twitter is a great way to reach out to people and talk to them. We tell our kids when they come in, we ask them, especially the freshmen, to put the phones away for the first 2 weeks, because one thing we don't ever want to get away from is the face-to-face and one-on-one communication skills. And the first 2 weeks they're in college, they need to meet people, because these are the people they're going to be with for 4 years. Then after that, they can get back on and check and see what their friends are doing everywhere else. But for now, put it away sometimes and just live their life through them and not what their friends are doing.
Well, Roger, thank you so much for visiting with us, and keep up the good work. Okay?
Well, thanks. It was my pleasure to be here.
Newly appointed athletic director Roger Ingalls joined us here on the Crusaders halftime show. We will have much more on the program in just a moment.
Welcome back to Burn Lord. Jimmy Bloomfield here at half. We've got about 4 minutes or so before we resume play here in Bexley, Ohio. Capital trailing Mount St. Joseph 17-14. Just providing a halftime scoreboard update for you guys. Mount Union currently on top of North Carolina Wesleyan by a count of 58-0. 5 minutes and change left in that one, so it looks like Mount Union will find their way to 1-0 quite easily here. The big game, Wisconsin-Oshkosh and John Carroll is actually a 3-point lead now for Oshkosh at halftime. 13-10 is the score there. We'll keep an eye on that one throughout the rest of this game. Heidelberg 33, Olivet 24. That one just got underway in the second half, a 9-point lead for Heidelberg. Muskingum on top of Waynesburg, shutting them out right now 10-0. That one's at the end of the third, 1:56 remaining in the third quarter there. And Wilmington on top of Earlham by a count of 28-6. That one at half. Baldwin-Wallace just getting underway in the second half. 14:53 remains there in the third quarter. Baldwin-Wallace 7, Defiance 0. Lots of low scores around the conference, likely in large part to this rain that is continuing to come down here as well. Quick statistical update for you as well. We'll start with the individual leaders from each side. Starting with the visitors, Mount St. Joseph's quarterback Chayton Tomlin, 7 for 23 with an interception and 1 touchdown, 108 yards through the air. His touchdown went to Williamson, who has 2 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Glines himself, 3 catches and 22 yards for him. Michael Tucker has an 11-yard catch, and Jake Pingallo has another 11-yard catch for the Lions. Running the ball, Presswood's been the main back doing the damage for the Lions, 14 carries for 46 yards. Tomlin has 39 and 1 on the ground as well, including a 19-yard burst. And Corey Hastings, 6 attempts, 18 yards. In total, 14 first downs for Mount St. Joe's. They have 103 rushing yards, 108 passing yards, pretty balanced there for 211 total yards of offense. 1 penalty for 12 yards and 1 turnover, which was that interception by Derek Evon. Capital has 14 points scored offensively. Leading the way is Webler, 8 for 17, 101 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 to Stanford and 1 to McLeod. Heater leads it on the ground, 10 for 66. Evan Butler, 4 for 27. Webler added an 8-yard scamper as well. Dartavia Stanford, 3 catches, 59 yards and a touchdown, including the 50-yard touchdown even. He was the leading receiver in the first half for Capital. David Barnett, 3 catches for 33 yards. McLeod had a 9-yard touchdown catch, and Corey Heater added a catch for no gain. Barnett's fumble, the lone turnover for Capital. It did lead to Mount St. Joe's reclaiming the lead, though, right before the end of the half. In total, 101 yards rushing, 101 yards passing for Capital, 202 even. Split right down the middle between rushing and passing. 5 penalties for 50 yards, 45 of those yards defensive in terms of the face mask, 2 of those, and then the unsportsmanlike in the end zone for Duncan breaking up a pass. That led to another score for Mount St. Joe's as well. That's when they settled for the field goal, I believe. And they had 1 offensive penalty as well for a false start. So penalties have become somewhat of an issue throughout this one. Defensive leaders for both sides. In terms of tackles, Kane Murray has 9, Derek Ebon 7 with an interception. Eric Strosky has 5. Zamora and Swackhammer combined on the lone sack for Capital. Zamora also has a tackle for loss that he split with Drew Seelig. Mount St. Joe's, Spencer Condra with 6 tackles leading the way for them. Peyton Williams, 4 tackles. Tavon Robertson, 3 tackles and 2 pass breakups as well. So that's basically your rundown there of the stats. We have about 10 seconds before kick as teams make their way back onto their respective sidelines. We'll step away momentarily. Charlie will be back with me for the second half in just a second.
Welcome back to Permort Field at Bernlohr Stadium. Just about set to get second half action underway in a rainy Bexley, Ohio, as the rain continues to fall. That is going to be a big theme weather-wise through the rest of this game as the wet stuff continues to come down. Jimmy, we've had ourselves a pretty interesting ball game as Mount St. Joseph leads Capital 17-14. Give me a big key here.
I think they got to score here on this possession, really. The offense has kind of been sputtering after that last touchdown, the 50-yard touchdown to Stanford. They really didn't do anything else offensively. They had a real chance here with 3 minutes left in the half, and they turned the ball over and allowed Mount St. Joe's to take a lead in the half.
Nick Waters will take the ball, and he will advance it to the 24-yard line on the opening kickoff of our second half.
Yeah, I'd like to see them keep mixing up personnel packages as well, not show the same look to Mount St. Joe's. They did a really good job of working in a lot of different talented playmakers that bring a lot of different things to the table for you. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of plays they draw up here for the second half. And I think defensively the biggest adjustment they need to make is controlling Tomlin's legs, which is not something I anticipated saying coming into this one. But he's really made an impact on the ground more so than in the passing game.
1st and 10, Capital at their own 23-yard line to begin the second half. Give us the Heater. Heater to about the 23-yard line or so. Unfortunately, that's the line of scrimmage, so that'll pretty much be a no-gainer on the play. Some offensive statistics for you for Capital. Thomas Wibbler, 8 of 17 through the air for 101 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Corey Heater, the leading rusher, 66 yards on 10 carries. Evan Butler with a rushing touchdown, by the way, and receiving. Dar Stanford with 3 catches for 59 yards and a score. Also Connor McLeod with a 9-yard receiving touchdown. Wibbler will now give off to Heater once again, and Heater finding some room as he will advance it to the 30-yard line. That'll be a pickup of about 6 on the play. That'll set up a 3rd and 4 situation.
A couple of big runs for Capital today, but still 6 yards a carry on the ground, so they might have a few small plays where they get a yard or two maybe, but you see Heater with another nice burst there. They're still getting 5 or 6 on the ground every time they give it on the ground. Why not keep going back to it?
3rd down and 3. Capital at their own 30-yard line. Have to go to the 33 for a first down. Wibbler, he'll throw, and it is off of the fingertips. The target was Trey Reese, but that ball was nearly intercepted that time by Tavon Robertson, the junior out of Louisville.
Yeah, that play was not there, and Wibbler might have been better to just throw that one away and live for another down. Obviously, it would have been 4th down, but boy, that would have been a big turnover again at midfield.
So now coming out to punt the football away for Capital is Avery Wirt. And back to receive the kick is Michael Tucker.
I'm kind of surprised as well we haven't seen Iskey even take a snap or two and run the ball in this kind of weather especially. See, they might still have some plans for him in the second half.
Kick is away. And it will take a definite roll for Capital. This will roll inside the 25 and will be down at about the 21-yard line.
Turned into a pretty good punt.
So now Mount St. Joe's offense will come back on. Impressive first half for Chayton Tomlin, at least from a running standpoint. Tomlin, 6 carries for 39 yards and a score. Passing, meanwhile, for Tomlin was less than stellar, 7 of 23 with an interception. 108 passing yards and a touchdown. He's also been sacked once in this game. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Lions from their own 22-yard line. A receiver to his right and 3 to his left. That is Tomlin. Tomlin will throw a slant pattern complete to the 30, to the 35, to the 40. Out to the 40-yard line will be Grayson Roberts, a guy that was targeted early and often in this game for Mount St. Joe's. I believe that's his first catch of the game, right?
Yeah.
1st and 10. The Lions at their own 41-yard line. 3 wideouts bunched to his left, 1 to his right, that being Tomlin, the quarterback. Play fake, Tomlin. Long pass, and it is bounced, and it is going to be bounced to the turf. Incomplete pass. In on the coverage is LaShawn Sanders defending against Grayson Roberts.
And as I mentioned, they've been picking on Duncan quite a bit. And the last few big shots have gone at Sanders' side. He's broken up both of them now. Another nice play. He kind of just stuck his hand in there again very late. Made sure his head was facing the quarterback as well.
2nd and 10. Lions at their own 41-yard line after the incomplete pass. The give is to Presswood, and Presswood takes it to the 45-yard line, so that'll be a pickup of about 4 on the play. Coming up with the tackle was Kane Murray. So 3rd and 6. Lions at their own 45. Under 12:40 to play in the third quarter. Mount St. Joseph 17, Capital 14. Tomlin back to pass. He will throw, and it is batted away at the last moment by LaShawn Sanders Jr. Defending against Michael Tucker, the intended target, and now the Lions will have to punt the football away. Boy, Sanders, when he first came here to Capital, I thought to myself, they got their guy at cornerback, has some really good ball skills out there on the perimeter.
Yeah, him and Duncan, a very nice tandem of cornerbacks on the outside, and we saw them pick on Duncan. Now they're picking on Sanders, and they haven't really had success in either department.
Preciado back to receive the upcoming punt here from Jerry Porter. Porter handles the high snap, and he will get the ball away. Kind of a low line drive kick that will bounce out of bounds, and we'll see where the referee will take it up to. Apparently it bounced out of the 20. So decent field position here for Capital as they come back onto the field once again offensively. By the way, we'd like to thank Capital Athletic Director Roger Ingalls for joining us here on the halftime show. I think that Capital has found their guy, Jimmy, and Roger Ingalls. Very impressive, a very good interview, and he's got big plans here in Bexley.
Yeah, it looks like you guys were having a great conversation, and a very intelligent man, it sounds like, from what I was told by you.
Wibbler will be in the shotgun. Barnett split out wide to the left. Preciado and Waters split out wide to the right. Butler, the tailback. Butler takes the carry to about the 21-yard line, so this will only be about a gain of 1 on the play. Butler, a sophomore out of Dayton, Ohio, 5'9", 210 pounds, went to Dayton Christian High School.
He was recruited to be kind of that Brent Walton replacer, the big bruiser in the triple option offense. He's found himself a nice little role, though, as a more traditional halfback, running out of the shotgun most of the time. Able to still make an impact and use that big body to get some extra yardage.
2nd down and 9. Capital at their own 21-yard line. Wibbler in the shotgun. A receiver to his left, 2 to his right. Throw up, and almost a tremendous catch by Nick Waters, but it goes through his hands as they were trying to hit Waters on the far sideline.
I'll tell you what, we've seen some really good coverage. I don't know if it's the field conditions that are giving the defensive backs a little bit of an advantage because of the slippery conditions, but we have seen really good coverage on both sides and man-on-man situations on jump balls.
So now 3rd and long, 3rd and 9 to be more specific. Capital still at their own 21-yard line. Trey Reese checks in at tight end. Barnett split out wide to the left. Waters split out wide to the right. Wibbler back to pass. He'll throw. Got a man, and it goes through the hands of Dartavius Stanford, who had a little bit of room to work with there on the near side of the field, but Stanford just wasn't able to haul it in. Boy, that has to be really frustrating for Capital right there because, boy, if Stanford makes that catch, he is probably gone all the way to the end zone.
Quite a few drops in this game.
And you have to wonder how much of a factor the rain is playing in there because I can't imagine it's too good peering up in the air with water droplets spraying your face.
I mean, even just looking at the scoreboard around the conference, I mentioned this during the halftime show, there's a lot of low scores around the conference, and this is a pretty high-scoring conference on typical days.
Ball up in the air, and it will rattle out of bounds around Capital's 45-yard line.
I was kind of hoping that would hit a Mount St. Joseph's player. Sometimes that happens when they're blocking downfield and the punt doesn't have enough distance on it. You accidentally have that ball land right off your back when you're blocking someone.
And you know what, Jimmy? I think the big reason why you might be seeing a lot of games, low-scoring affairs here in the Midwest right now is getting the after effects of Hurricane Harvey. My sister who recently moved to Nashville said they got pounded the other night down there in Tennessee. So I would imagine that this rain is kind of the after effects of all that stuff that hit Texas earlier on in the week.
He caught that.
A great catch made by Grayson Roberts. And a whole bunch of whistles. There's a flag in the backfield.
Personal foul.
The penalty will go against Trey Zimmer, freshman linebacker out of Malinta, Ohio.
That hurts. Another 15-yard penalty on defense. It's the fourth one.
And now Mount St. Joe's has a chance to extend their 17-14 lead here, marching deep into Capital territory. 11-12 remain in the third quarter. 3 wideouts to the left, 1 to the right.
At the 17.
Jayden Tomlin, joined by Hastings, the tailback. Play fake. Tomlin takes it himself to the 15, around left end. And he'll finally squirt out of bounds around the 13-yard line. It'll be about a gain of 5 on the play. Eric Strosky forces him out of bounds. Yeah, those penalties on defense have really hurt Capital today, Jimmy.
Yeah, a lot of them have come down near this red zone area, too, taking them from that 30 to 20-yard area right into the red zone. 2 on the same drive they had as well early. The first touchdown drive.
3 wideouts bunch to the right, 1 to the left. Tomlin, he'll give off to Hastings. And now Hastings will be taken down on the play. Tackle made by Wayne Ray Jr., the freshman out of Columbus.
And the running backs from Mount St. Joe's have combined for just 68 yards on 21 carries. They're doing a really good job of shutting them down after a few good runs from Presswood early.
So now a 3rd and 3. Mount St. Joe's at Capital's 10-yard line. Tomlin, another play fake. Tomlin being chased. He'll scramble to his right, get out of it to the 5, and he will trot into the end zone for another Lions touchdown. The blitz was coming for Capital, but Tomlin found an alleyway on the far side and goes into the end zone for a second rushing touchdown on the day.
Yeah, just lost contain there again on the blitz. And again, Tomlin is not a runner. That's his first. He had his first career touchdown earlier. That's his second. And he only ran for 45 yards last season. There are sack yardage taken into effect in college, but still, I mean, he's not a runner at all based on what we saw from him last year. So to see him moving so well with the ball today on the ground is kind of a surprise. 53 yards and 2 touchdowns.
The extra point by Jerry Porter is good. Mount St. Joseph 24, Capital 14, 10:03 remaining in the third quarter. Still plenty of time left to go in this game, but man, Jimmy, Capital needs to tighten up here defensively, especially against the run, especially when Tomlin has the ball.
Yeah, and that was kind of my big key that I talked about defensively is containing Tomlin, which it definitely was not a key coming into this game if you're game planning. Maybe, obviously, they have more access to tape and things of that nature, so they might have seen a little bit of something there from Tomlin. But going off of the stats themselves, Tomlin, his longest run last year was 12 yards, and he already has 53 on the ground. He's averaging 6.5 a carry. 19-yard run earlier today is his long. And he's really the main guy doing the damage on the ground because the running backs are both under 3.5 yards a carry, both Presswood and Hastings.
Quick scoreboard update around the OAC. A final, Mount Union blanks North Carolina Wesleyan 58-0. They're in the fourth quarter at Muskingum. The Muskies leading Waynesburg 13-0 in that ball game. Wisconsin Oshkosh leads John Carroll 16-10 with 5:27 left to go in the third. And Heidelberg leading Olivet 33-24. 3:50 remaining in the third quarter of that game. Kick is away. Waters will take it in the end zone, and he'll bring it out to the 5, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, to the 25, across the 25 to the 27-yard line.
At one point on Mountain Union, they get a lot of talk, about their offense putting up 60 a game. Their defense is just as good. Again, shutting out another opponent here today. A lot of the time, it's not like they're winning 65-20, getting 3 touchdowns against them or anything like that. They're blanking opponents a lot of the time. They're winning games 50-0, 60-0, 70-7,
They're dominant on both
Their
sides of the ball.
defense does not get enough credit, I don't think.
And I want to add 2 more scores to that scoreboard update. Baldwin Wallace leading Defiance 14-2 with 11:56 to go in the third. Wilmington up on Earlham 28-12 with 10:38 remaining in the third quarter. Wibbler, he'll now go back to pass. He'll throw. Double coverage, and boy, that was a dangerous pass. He was trying to force one in there to Barnett. In on the coverage that time for Mount St. Joe's was Sean Sullivan, the sophomore out of Covington, Kentucky.
Yeah, a little lucky there that you're throwing two linebackers guarding Barnett there. If that's a defensive back, typically would have some better hands and probably hang on to that. You said it, he really forced it in there too. Did not go through a progression and just kind of went right to Barnett.
2nd and 10, Capital at their own 27-yard line. You know, to get something going here offensively. 2 receivers to each side of the field. Wibbler, he'll pass, he'll throw to Heater, and Heater will be promptly knocked out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. The tackle made on the play by Tyler Hanna. Only about a gain of 3, so this will set up a 3rd and 7 for the Crusaders. In desperate need of a first down here, just trying to regain that mojo that they had on offense earlier in this game.
Yep. Had the drop that ended last drive.
2 wideouts to his left, 1 to his right. Wibbler in the shotgun, flanked by Heater on his left hip. Wibbler takes a snap. He'll throw. Heater not able to reel in the pass that time. Heater had a lot of room, but I don't know if it was the throw or what, but there was just miscommunication there. It leads to the incompletion, and Capital once again has to punt the football away.
The timing was off, and I think the throw was just not on line with where Heater wanted it. You said it. He had all kinds of space. If that one's on the money or even just near him so that he can make that catch in stride, he's easily going to have a first down there, and it's a frustrating outcome for another 3 and out.
And more importantly, it once again puts the defense out there on Capital as they've kind of been worn down by Tomlin and the rest of the Mount St. Joe's offense. And, oh, boy, this is a knuckler that doesn't really go all that far for the punter, Avery Word. In fact, they're going to mark this out at the Capital 36-yard line.
That's not all on Wirt either. That was a bad snap, and Wirt did not field it cleanly, and then he kind of tried to rush off that punt. There was a lot of pressure coming at him, too. If he tries to take his time there, that one's blocked 100%. He did what he could with it.
So, great field position for the Lions. And, boy, oh, boy, they have a chance to break this open.
It's a 3-yard punt in the books.
That's not good. That's not good from what I hear. Tomlin in the shotgun. 3 wideouts to his right, 1 to his left. 1st and 10 for the Lions from Capital's 36-yard line. Tomlin will loft up a deep ball. And it will be incomplete as it was over the head of Grayson Roberts. And in on the coverage was LaShawn Sanders Jr. for Capital.
They're still getting pressure. Just not doing a whole lot through the air still. 9 for 27. They're up by 10 points. It just shows you how good Tomlin's been on the ground. 33% completion percentage.
Yeah, that's not good. Tomlin. Play fake, scrambling to his right now, being chased by Corey Mays. Tomlin still running, and he will be belted out of bounds after the 35 to the 34-yard line.
Pops right back up, but maybe that'll get some momentum going.
So now a 3rd and long for the Lions. Ball spotted at the 34-yard line. 3rd and 8. 3 wideouts to his left, 1 to his right. Tomlin once again on the shotgun, hasting his tail back. Tomlin takes a snap, rolls to his left. He'll throw, and it is almost picked off. It turned out to be a completion to A.J. Glines, but that was nearly an interception. I believe Eric Strosky was in on the play.
He took it out of Strosky's hands. Strosky did have both hands around it, and then kind of it was a simultaneous catch, which always goes to the offense.
So now an interesting decision here for head coach Tyler Hopperton. And the rest of Mount St. Joe's and the offense is staying on the field. It's 4th and 7. Mount St. Joe's at Capital's 33-yard line. Tomlin in the shotgun. He'll take the snap. He'll roll to his right. He'll look downfield. He will throw, and it's through the hands of his intended wide receiver, trying to hit Kendall Sproul with the ball. Turnover on downs for the Lions, and maybe this could be a turning point here for Capital as their offense will get back onto the field here real quick.
Yeah, it was too high of a throw, and pretty much an easy stop once that throw came out too high there from Tomlin. Good coverage from Fascione. Secondary has been great. Let's get something going offensively here. Butler's in there, so to get a different look at tailback. And using Nick Waters a little bit more in the second half than they did in the first, Charlie.
Waters split out wide to the right. And Barnett out there as well. Sanders bottled up at the line of scrimmage. That'll be no gain on the play as there's no push up front. Leading the charge defensively for Mount St. Joe's was Dustin Applegate, the junior out of Cincinnati.
Andrew Klein checking in as a tight end in the formation. They've got 2 tight ends and Iskey, basically a 3rd tight end. Barnett, the lone receiver, as you were about to say there.
Yep, Barnett split out wide to the left, or Wibbler's left, I should say. Man in motion. They put Iskey in motion on this play. And now it's Butler, and Butler is going to be spun down. Only about a gain of about a yard, as making the stop on the play was Jairiquez Fair-Harris, sophomore out of Columbus, went to Centennial High School.
And Wibbler as well has been struggling in terms of his completion percentage, 9 for 23 in this one. I don't believe he's completed a pass in the second half. No, there was a 5-yard pass to Heater. That's the only completion he's had in the second half.
3rd and 9. Capital at their own 34-yard line. Boy, a first down would go a long way here. Wibbler.
Run.
Throws, and Barnett, almost had the catch right there. Barnett has 3 catches today, but I think he's got 5 drops on the day, Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably right. 4 come to mind immediately, and there might be a 5th that I'm missing. And I said run. Wibbler had room in front of him. Would have been close if he would have got to that marker. Obviously, with a quarterback running, the defense kind of closes in quick on you. And coming off a leg injury, maybe you don't want him to run there. But, boy, Barnett, another drop. The rain, obviously, a factor for him. And he had the big fumble, too, which really turned this game around at the end of that first half.
Mount St. Joseph 24, Capital 14. And, the punt was blocked. And being tackled on the play was Avery Ward, as there was another bad snap from center. And, boy, now the Lions are really in business here offensively.
Yeah, that was a high snap this time, and almost overcorrecting from that last snap. And as I said last time, Charlie, if Wart took his time and tried to punt it, it was going to be blocked. And that time, after letting off the bad punts, he tried to get a good punt off. It took way too much time to develop. And it's really not his fault again. That's pretty much on the snap. And at this point, you might as well be going for it on a 4th and 7, because you've netted now negative yardage on the last 2 punts.
Chayton Tomlin in the shotgun. Play fake, throw over the middle, and the Lions immediately capitalize. A touchdown throw from Tomlin to Kendall Sproul, the sophomore from Indianapolis.
Sproul had 21 catches and a touchdown last season for the Lions. And looks like an injured player on the near sideline. Not sure what happened there and resulting in that injury, but that's the reason for our delay right now. But boy, not necessarily a turnover, but a big play in special teams leads to an easy touchdown after the fumble at the end of the first half, leading to a touchdown. And the punt before this one really could have changed field position at least. But weren't able to accomplish that either.
Well, Jimmy, I think it's just a case of Capital's defense just starting to get worn down by the fact that Capital's offense is going 3 and out. And, boy, the last 2 punts, I mean, you want to talk about backing yourself into a corner. That's not a good way to do it.
Yeah, just bad snaps that have led to the miscommunications there. And Capital offensively has had just, again, the 5-yard catch from the passing game. They've only had 9 rushing yards in the second half as well. So over midway through the third quarter, and we've got 2 touchdowns from Mount St. Joe's and just 14 yards for Capital's offense. And this is obviously a good recipe for Mount St. Joe's to build the lead, compounding it with the turnovers and the special teams miscues. Defense has played great today. Just kind of being backed into a corner right now by the rest of the unit.
Score update real quick around the OAC. Wisconsin Oshkosh leading John Carroll 16-10 with 5:27 to go in the third quarter. Heidelberg all over Olivet 40-24 with 16 seconds remaining in the third quarter. They're in the fourth quarter of Muskingum as the Muskies are blanking Waynesburg 19-0 with 6:12 remaining in that game. Baldwin Wallace up 14-2 against Defiance with 9:23 remaining in the third quarter. And finally, Wilmington beating Earlham 35-12 with 5:58 to go in the third quarter. Mount Union has already gone final. Purple Raiders defeating North Carolina Wesleyan 58-0. So now on for the point after is Jerry Porter. Porter, a right-footed kicker, went to Elder High School back in his prep days in the Cincinnati area. Kick is on the way, and it is good. We'll take a quick timeout. 6:37 remain in the third quarter. Mount St. Joe's 31, Capital 14. This is Crusaders football here on the Capital Sports Network. .637 remaining in the third quarter. Mount St. Joseph 31, Capital 14. Capital getting the ball back here, and boy, they need to get something going here offensively because this game is starting to get a little out of hand. Kick is away. Preciado will take it at the 2, to the 5, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, to the 25. And Preciado will be tackled at about the 25-yard line, which is where Capital will start offensively. Last couple of series, Jimmy, have not been looking too crisp for Capital. A lot of 3 and outs. What do they need to do to get back on track here?
Well, the ground game has been good for them. They really tried to establish it last possession, and it just did not work for them at all. Forced themselves into another 3rd and long situation. I think you just got to keep mixing up who you're getting the ball involved to, and just keep trying to find the open man, go through your progressions a little bit more, and give Wibbler some time to make some plays.
Wibbler, play action. He'll throw, and it is caught! Caught at the 50-yard line. Thank goodness, finally, after bobble today, a wide receiver for Capital finally comes down with a pass. Hunter Smith comes out of the backfield, senior out of Zanesville.
Yeah, nice wheel route from Smith out of that hybrid running back slot kind of formation in the pistol. And it actually hit him in the shoulder pads, and then he ended up catching it anyway. But again, Wibbler had some time, and they get another player involved, and it just gets the momentum going a little bit.
1st and 10 for Capital. They are now at Mount St. Joe's 48-yard line. The give is to Heater. Heater across the 45 to the 44-yard line. So a pickup of 4 for Corey Heater. And boy, that pass play might just be the spark that Capital needs to get back into this ball game.
You feel the energy a little bit, kind of going back into this offense. The sideline is moving around a little bit more, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him go right back to the ground again. Heater's running real hot right now.
A receiver to each side of the field. Wibbler to Heater. Heater makes a man miss across the 45 to about the 43-yard line. So that's only going to be about a 1-yard gain for Heater, setting up a crucial 3rd down situation here for Capital as they're trying to rally here. They trail Mount St. Joseph 31-14. 5:17 and counting in the 3rd quarter.
I don't think they need it all here either, Charlie. It is 3rd down, but I think you go 4 down territory, down 17 across midfield here. So if you can get even half of it, it's a good play here.
Wibbler, hand off to Heater. Heater across the 40, and let's see where they spot the ball. I believe he's going to be maybe half a yard short.
I really like that play call.
To the 39 goes Heater. This will bring up 4th down, and they are going to go for it. I think this is the right move.
Yeah, it might just be a sneak.
And Wibbler will just move it forward, and he gets a good push as he takes it to the 38. That's all they needed. 1st down, Crusaders.
You got 5 upperclassmen on that offensive line. You trust them in that situation to get that push, like you said. And going back to 3rd down, again, I like the play call. They didn't force a pass or anything. Even if Heater gets 2 or 3 on the ground, you set up a 4th and short. Heater is just running very well those last few carries. It was a good decision to go back to him.
Wibbler in the shotgun. 3 wideouts to his left, 1 to his right. It's 1st and 10. Capital at the Lions' 37-yard line. Wibbler with Heater as his tailback. He'll go back to pass. He'll throw to Heater. Heater to the 30, to the 25, to the 20, to the 15 before he's belted out of bounds by Tavon Robertson. Boy, it's been the Corey Heater show on this offensive drive.
That was designed all the way, too, Charlie. Get into him in some space, let him make a play. They're keeping him out there. Why not? Like you said, he's running very well right now. Give him the ball again.
Wibbler breaks the offensive huddle. shares the play with his offensive lineman. He's got two wideouts split out to each side of the field. Heater is the tailback. Wibbler in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Back to pass. Pump fake. Throws. Got a man. And it is caught in the end zone for another Crusader touchdown. Oh, my goodness.
Eddie Preciado makes a big play again. He's been killing it in the return game, and he comes up with a big catch. Good play design, too, Charlie. They had two defenders on the outside there and a safety over the top. Barnett cut his route short into a hook route, and the safety collapsed on Barnett, opening up the end zone there, one-on-one coverage. And Preciado, the first real receiver to make a play when one-on-one coverage on a jump ball situation today for the offense, that is, comes up with a big catch.
Blake Middleton on for the point after. Snap back, hold down, but there's a flag. The man whistle for the foul, that would be Evan Butler. So now Capital will have to re-kick here. But the good news is that it seems as though they have recovered that mojo that they had exhibited on offense in the first half. And hopefully, with the defense getting a little bit of a rest there on the sideline, the defense can get the ball right back to the offense, and then all of a sudden we got ourselves a ball game. Snap back, hold down, kick is on the way, and it is good. 3:36 remain in the third quarter. Mount St. Joseph 31, Capital 21. We'll take a quick timeout here on the Capital Sports Network. Welcome back to Primort Field at Bernlohr Stadium. 3:36 remaining in the third quarter. Mount St. Joseph with a 31-21 lead over Capital. But, Jimmy, that last offensive drive for the Crusaders looked pretty good.
Got the momentum going with that big catch from Hunter Smith. That really started everything for the Crusaders, and been a pretty good drive since then. Corey Heater took over, and a heck of a play by Eddie Preciado to finish off the drive.
Kick is away. Taken at the 5, to the 10. To the 15, to the 20, to the 25, and to about the 30-yard line. Going out of bounds on the play, the returner, Trayon Taylor, sophomore out of Winter Park, Florida. The Lions have used a host of kick returners here today, and now the Lions will get back out offensively onto the field. Number one thing that Capital defensively has to focus on, stopping that run game and getting more pressure on Chayton Tomlin.
Yeah, it's almost, stopping the run game, they're almost getting too aggressive on the blitzes, and they're not keeping contained while they're blitzing. That's been the real issue.
Tomlin with the play fake, a throw, and it is over the head of his intended target, Grayson Roberts.
And I should say, not even only when they're blitzing, they're still getting good rush with 3 or 4 guys. I was talking with Ryan Gosser, the SID here at Capital, and he was saying the same thing, generating some good pressure on the quarterback for the first time in the last few years here at Capital. Doing a real good job today, the defensive line, as well as that secondary that I mentioned, Charlie.
2nd and 10, Lions at their own 29, and the give is to Hastings. And the stop is going to be made by Drew Seelig, the junior out of Westerville, Ohio. Hey, I was in Westerville the other night calling a high school football game between Westerville Central and Upper Arlington.
3rd and 9, John Eaton coming in, and he was blitzing pretty much every time he's been in the game. Keep an eye on him, number 34 with the black sleeves there.
3rd and 9, Mount St. Joseph at their own 30-yard line. Tomlin in the shotgun. He'll take the snap. He'll drop back the pass, avoids the rush, and it is off of the fingertips of Kendall Sproul. Just what the doctor ordered for Capital, a 3-and-out for the Lions. Offense gets the ball right back.
That was a good little disguise there in the blitz coverage again. Strosky came up. They saw him come, obviously, that he was going to be blitzing. And then they brought up Fashone as well, and he was the one that actually blitzed where Eaton would normally shoot that spot. And it did kind of throw off the blocking scheme up front a little bit. They're being very unique with these blitz packages.
Back to receive the punt is Preciado, who just moments ago had a receiving touchdown. Let's see what he can do here in the return game. He'll take it at the 30, to the 35, to the 40. And he'll dive across the 40 to about the 42-yard line. Still pretty good field position for Capital as the offense, with that confidence reborn, comes back onto the field. Thomas Wibbler looked pretty good that last time.
He sure did. In 3 quarters, by the way, Preciado has already outgained their entire punt return yardage from last season.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They had just 19 yards returning on 4 returns last year. Lots of fair catches, I guess. See if Wibbler can keep the rhythm going. They're going to start off with Butler this drive, giving Heater a breather.
2 wideouts to his left, 1 to his right. Wibbler in the shotgun. Butler, the tailback, right behind him. Man put in motion. Give is to Butler. Butler trying to fight his way forward, but he'll be stopped for no gain on the play.
Butler had that one nice run, Charlie, but other than that, he's had 7 carries now for just 5 yards.
Waters checks out. Trey Reese checks in at tight end. Nick Iskey in there as well at tight end.
I want to see something with him. They keep throwing him out there, and it looks like he's just mainly being a blocker for him. He's now farther back in the formation right next to Wibbler.
In an H-back type of set with Butler as the tailback. Play fake. Wibbler throwing, and Iskey will catch it at the 45. He'll spin away to about midfield as he will be forced out of bounds eventually by the Mount St. Joe's defense. Nice play by Iskey. I think he could be a real asset at that tight end spot.
Yeah, I think just even if you get him 5 or 7 touches a game with Wibbler being your main quarterback, I wouldn't mind him taking a snap or 2 either and try to just get a few yards on the ground. This would be a good spot for it, 2 on a 3rd and 2, but they're going to stick with the more traditional formation.
Wibbler handles the high snap. Butler to the 50, and ooh, man, he got belted at the 49-yard line.
He's just short.
Just short. Do you go for it here if you're
Yeah,
Capital?
absolutely. Keep the momentum going first off. And again, you only need about half a yard. And last time they did a quarterback sneak, they got easily 2 or 3.
Wibbler will hand it off to Butler. Butler tripped up in the backfield, and Capital will have to turn it over on downs. Making the stop in the backfield for the Lions was Colby Webb, senior linebacker out of Huntington, West Virginia.
I don't know why. It seemed like they hurried through that whole sequence. Could have taken a little bit more time to see what was going on there. Obviously not going to catch him by surprise with a handoff there or anything like that. Butler just has not been able to get it going after that 25-yard carry earlier.
1:02 remain in the 3rd quarter. Mount St. Joseph with the ball, leading Capital 31-21. Boy, just when you think the momentum swung back the way of Capital, the Lions get it right back seemingly. Tomlin throws over the middle, and it is incomplete, out of the hands of A.J. Glines.
Glines tried to one-hand that against his chest, and the chest guards kind of just popped those out, the shoulder pads.
Clock stopped at the moment, 57.5 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Lions up by 10. Tomlin lined up in the shotgun, 2nd and 10. Lions at Capital's 48-yard line. Tomlin takes a snap. He will hand to his tailback, Presswood, and Presswood will advance it to the 45-yard line. This will only be about a gain of 3 on the play. 3rd down situation coming up here for the Lions. Okay, Murray in on the tackle on that last defensive play for Capital. And now it's 2 wide receivers to each side of the field, 3rd and 7. The Lions at Capital's 45-yard line. Tomlin lined up in the shotgun. Greenwood, his tailback on his left hip. Tomlin, he'll now go back to pass. He's looking, and he's going to be brought down in the backfield. We've been calling this guy's name all afternoon. James Zamore making an impact today for the Crusaders.
A senior, too, and we really never had said his name over any broadcast, so obviously putting in some work in the offseason, really shooting up the depth chart, and making some plays today. He's really earned his spot out there.
Zamore, senior out of Cape Coral, Florida. And he has definitely been putting on a good performance at that defensive tackle spot for Capital. And that is the end of the 3rd quarter. As we head to the 4th, it is Mount St. Joseph 31, Capital 21. Quick timeout, and we will be right back in just a moment. back here at Promort Field at Bernlor Stadium.
Hey, some NFL news for football fans out there. Browns acquired Sammy Coates today from the Steelers.
Really? And what did the Browns have to give up for that?
I'm not
for that
exactly
move?
sure, actually. Just saw it come across a couple.
Today
couple
is
minutes ago.
final cut-down day where they have to get the roster down to 53.
Yeah, the Patriots traded their third-string quarterback Brissett for receiver on the Colts, Dorsett. So keep an eye out today. You're going to see a couple moves like that.
Meanwhile, back to our game here with Mount St. Joseph leading Capital 31-21. 14:53 remaining in regulation. Capital with a fair catch near the 11-yard line, and that is where Capital will start offensively here. All right, it's go time here for the Capital offense, Jimmy. Give me some keys to here down the stretch.
Well, I don't know. Getting Heater back in there, I guess. Butler did not run the ball well last drive. I think Heater was a big part of them scoring on that last touchdown drive that ended in the Preciado catch. I don't know. I think, again, you just kind of get some rhythm going again, and it really never got going that last drive, even if it's just a couple of small plays that move the ball forward. Just any kind of positive play right now to get the momentum back on our side here.
Wibbler and company, 1st and 10 at the Crusaders' 13-yard line. Wibbler will go back to pass. He's looking downfield. He'll throw to Heater out in the flat to the 15, to the 20, and Heater will be upended at the 21-yard line. So decent pickup on the play for Heater, who continues to touch the football a lot offensively for Capital.
And just to answer your question, Coates was traded with a 7th-round pick for a 6th-round pick.
Interesting. Well, he was highly regarded out of Auburn, so maybe he'll make an impact for the Browns, who also recently cut Brock Osweiler. From the pros, back to the college now. Wibbler facing a 2nd and 2. Capital at their own 21-yard line. And a carry up to about the 23. On the carry was Dartavius Stanford. He also goes by Dar for short.
Interesting to see him get a carry out of the backfield, almost like a Nick Waters-like role.
He's got speed, by the way. Earlier in the game, Stanford scoring on a 50-yard pass from Wibbler. He's definitely going to be a big asset for Capital this year, I can tell you that right now.
Especially with the chemistry they already have.
3rd down and 1. Give is to Heater. Heater trying to muscle his way to the 1st down marker, and it looks like he might just have enough.
Tough angle from us to see, really, but looks like they're moving the sticks.
They have signaled that it is a 1st down as they move the chains. Under 13 and a half to play in the 4th quarter. Capital down by 10, 31-21 to Mount St. Joseph, but they have the ball, still plenty of time left, but you got to get this offense to the high gear and, more importantly, get it in the end zone.
Waters checking in for Reese, so they're getting a little bit smaller and faster in this formation.
Wibbler will set up in the shotgun. 2 wideouts to his right and 1 to his left. Heater remains the tailback. Wibbler back to pass. He'll throw to Heater out in the flat. Heater to the 25, to the 29-yard line.
It's his 5th catch. He's leading the way for the Crusaders.
They've been showcasing him exclusively out of the backfield, kind of using the wide receivers as a decoy to open up some space for Heater.
Over 125 total yards now for Heater in this game.
He is that type of guy that, when healthy, can be a real asset to the offense, whether receiving the ball or running with the football.
He's a workhorse as well. He's got 21 touches already in this game. You don't see that a whole lot anymore.
2nd down and 5. Capital at their own 29-yard line. Wibbler will once again drop the pass. Wibbler will throw, and Heater catches it. Far sideline, cross the 40 to the 43-yard line. And now a flag has been thrown.
It might be for roughing. We'll see. It's a big pivotal penalty.
Yep.
Thought I saw kind of some late contact there.
Corey Harden, the junior out of Louisville, whistled for roughing the penalty. Roughing the passer.
That's big. Adds 15 onto already a nice substantial gain there from Heater out of the backfield.
1st and 10, and this will move it up to the 43-yard line of the Lions.
And again, they're not doing anything major here, Charlie. They're just taking what the defense is giving them. Defense compounds it. It helps them out with a 15-yard penalty.
Wibbler in the shotgun, 2 wideouts to each side of the field, and Corey Heater still in at tailback. He's on Wibbler's left hip. Wibbler will throw, And boy, he was way off on that pass as he was trying to hit Barnett on a curl route on the inside, but Barnett didn't turn around in time. Something is off about Barnett today. He just does not seem as sharp as he was last year.
I think the drops kind of just slowed him down, and then that fumble. I was interested in seeing how he would bounce back from that fumble, and the answer has been not too good so far.
2nd down and 10. Wibbler will go back to pass. He'll throw, and oh boy, man, what a catch right there. As making the catch was Nick Waters. Although there was a lot of contact on that play.
That should have been interference. Kobe Webb, the linebacker, hit Waters before he caught the ball. I think they didn't throw a flag because Waters caught it. Definitely an early contact on that hit.
3rd and 4. Capital at the Lions' 36-yard line. They are driving. They are down by 10. Needing a score here in the worst way.
And again, they could go for it on 4th down. I think you go back to Heater once again. Just let him try to get that 1st down.
Wibbler with 2 wideouts to each side of the field. Heater the tailback. Wibbler, quick throw, and Barnett makes the catch inside the 30 on a slant route to the 28-yard line.
And that's why he's out there. He still can make some plays for you. You got to stick with your workhorses. They go away from Heater, interestingly. Works out on a quick pass to Barnett.
And maybe that will pick Barnett's confidence up a little bit here as we get to the latter stages of this game.
Yeah.
Coming up in 11 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. Mount St. Joseph 31, Capital 21, but the Crusaders are driving. 2 wideouts to his left, 1 to his right. Wibbler in the shotgun with Heater, his tailback. Wibbler will now roll to his left. He'll throw. He's got Barnett, and Barnett not able to snag the pass. In on the coverage that time for Mount St. Joseph was Tavon Robertson, batting the ball away.
Great play by Robertson, closing that gap. Barnett had 2 or 3 steps on him. The ball was in a good area, too. It wasn't a bad throw at all. And again, these 50-50 balls, Charlie, the defense has been winning them. The only time that comes to mind would be Preciado's touchdown in which the offensive player won that jump ball battle.
2nd down and 10 now after the incompletion. Capital still at the Lions' 28-yard line. Wibbler once again in the shotgun. Heater, his tailback, 2 wideouts to his right, 1 to his left. Barnett split out wide to the left. Wibbler throws, and it is picked off. Picked off at the 11-yard line. Making the interception was Tyler Hanna, and Hanna will be tackled at the 22-yard line. That's unfortunate.
He had to have just missed him because he kind of threw it right to him there. I don't think he saw him.
Boy, that turnover could be very costly for Capital as they're trying to come back in this game, still trailing Mount St. Joseph 31-21 with 10:38 remaining in the 4th quarter. So now Cap's defense has got to come up with a big play here to get the ball back in the hands of the offense.
And fortunately, they've been stopping the run game again. Presswood and Hastings have 24 carries for just 75 yards.
Tomlin will be in the shotgun. 3 wideouts to his right, 1 to his left. Tomlin over to Greenwood. No, actually Hastings the tailback, and Hastings is bottled up.
Yep.
There'll be no gain on the play. Leading the charge, guess who? James Zamore.
He's having a heck of a game.
He really is.
Again, they're going to have trouble running down this clock because the running game is just not working right now. There's still over 10 minutes, so a lot of time left, but you get into that mode of possessions now. It's a 2-possession game. You got to save yourself some time here.
Tomlin in the shotgun. 3 wideouts to his right, 1 to his left. Greenwood the tailback. And the give is to Greenwood. And Greenwood is going to be tackled around the 25-yard line as Derek Ebon was in on the stop for the Crusaders.
As long as you get a stop here on 3rd down, that interception, it hurts, but it's not going to kill you. You're going to have plenty of time to get back in this game. Each first down at this point is another minute to 2 minutes off the clock. You have to think of it that way. So got to save yourself some time and get this stop.
3rd and 7. Lions at their own 25-yard line. Tomlin in the shotgun, takes a snap, rolling to his right, looking downfield, trying to find somebody. Now he's rolling to his left. Now he's scrambling. Now he's throwing, and a flag is going to be thrown. Pass complete to Greenwood, to the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, as he's ridden out of bounds, eventually by Strosky. Now another flag has been thrown at about the 40-yard line, but we still have to check the penalty back at the 18.
It's got to be a hold back at the 18 based on where that was thrown. Greenwood, smart play to just release from a block and open himself up. Tomlin just evading at least 4 or 5 different chances at a sack. And then hopefully that's not a late hit on the sideline, because if it is, it's going to be, canceling out the penalties. Worst case, it's still not going to be a first down.
Offense, number 58. 10-yard penalty after the play. Dead ball. Personal
Oh, no.
foul. Number 8, defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic
First down. I spoke too soon, Charlie.
Justin Scott is the one that's whistled for the late hit.
And because it was after the play has ended, it's actually on Fashone.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that hurts, because obviously being after the play, the penalty's no longer offset anymore. So it's going to be a first down. And I think they're going to have to mark it off from the spot of the hold. So really it's going to net 5 or 10 yards in terms of where the ball is spotted. But the big thing here is that they get the first down, obviously.
Boy, that is unfortunate for Capital. They have been shooting themselves in the foot with all of these defensive penalties.
Yeah, even if it was just a face mask or something that would offset, you'd still have a 3rd and 7, basically would cancel out the play.
Yeah.
But instead you move the sticks.
No, and here's the other thing, too. I never understood late hits, especially along the sideline. I mean, what's the point of belting a guy when you know he's just going to go out of bounds? Then again, I'm not a football player moving at 100 miles per hour, and sometimes it's very tough to stop yourself from doing that.
That's a good point. Good counterpoint to your own point.
Yeah. 1st and 10. The Lions at their own 30-yard line. So Tomlin with a fresh set of downs. He's got a receiver to his left and 3 to his right. It looks as though Hastings is the tailback back out there for the Lions. Tomlin, he'll hand to Hastings, and Hastings will dive across the 35-yard line to the 36. Gain of 6 on the play. Under 9 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Mount St. Joseph 31, Capital 21. Crusaders down by 10. Need a stop here. Need to get the ball back to the offense, but the Lions have a chance to salt away some of this clock right here. Tomlin will hand to Hastings. And Hastings, he'll be stood up and brought down at the 37. Making his way to the ball carrier was Drew Seelig from Westerville, the junior defensive lineman for the Crusaders.
Here we are under 8.5 minutes now. This is, again, a huge 3rd down. Got to get this stop and get the ball back into your offense's hands.
3rd and 2.
They still got 20 on the play clock. They could run this down under 8 minutes if they wish.
Lions at their own 38-yard line. Tomlin is in the shotgun. He's got a wide receiver to his left, 3 to his right. And Hastings is still the tailback for the Lions. 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers for the Crusaders. Tomlin bobbles the snap, and he's going to be stopped short of the first down marker. Knifing his way in there was Kane Murray. There was a bobble by Tomlin. It threw off the timing of the play, and it gave enough time for Murray to get in there and make the stop. It's 4th down for the Lions.
And again, we see another snap, this time for Mount St. Joe's, have a big impact on this game. That's going to allow Cap a chance to get it back in their offense's hands. Always got to watch out for a fake. Obviously, it'd be a very risky one at this point, but technically you only got to get a yard.
In the meantime, Preciado comes back onto the field. It seems like he is just one missed tackle, one opening away from getting a big one right here. And boy, would Capital love to see a big return from this guy right here, right now. This will backpedal him to the 15. And Preciado dropped the ball, and it's a fumble. And I think Mount St. Joe's falls on it.
Luckily,
but a flag has been thrown.
Yeah, luckily for Capital, there's going to be a hold or some sort of illegal block there on Gavin Edmondson. He went to the ground and grabbed the player from Capital who was trying to block him and tackled him with him. And that's where that flag was thrown, right in the middle of that exchange. So I think, fortunately, it's going to stay with Cap unless they call a hold against Capital for some reason. Oh, and it goes against Capital.
Man, everything going the way of Mount St. Joe's. And, man, we've been singing the praises of Eddie Preciado all day long, but, man, just a bad time and a fumble. That's the other thing, too, these turnovers lately. They've had 2 in the second half.
I think they ruled Capital had the possession of it. It looked like.
Or do they? Okay, never mind.
Not St. Joe's recovered it, but it must have been down already from when Capital had recovered it. Looked to me, too, Charlie.
You see, the officials didn't really make that clear.
They certainly did not.
Okay, now I'm in a better mood.
Still not a great penalty as you're back inside your 10-yard line, but we do have at least have the football.
Yes, that is the important thing. 1st and 10 for the Crusaders at their own 6-yard line. Wibbler throwing it deep. And way over the head of Barnett as Barnett was trying to fight his way through some traffic.
Good coverage. There was some contact, no doubt, but definitely some good coverage.
Sean Stewart in on the coverage for Mount St. Joe's. Stops the clock with 6 minutes and 52 seconds remaining in regulation. Mount St. Joseph's 31, Capital 21. Wibbler will be in the shotgun, 2nd and 10. Capital at their own 6-yard line. Wibbler will run it forward. Design run to the 10 to about the 15-yard line. So this will be about a gain of about 9 on the play. Sets up a 3rd and short situation. By the way, got to give the fans here at Bernlohr Stadium a lot of credit. A lot of them have still stayed here with the game despite these miserable conditions with all this rain being dumped on Bexley.
I am very thankful we are upstairs in the press box.
Amen to that, brother. Wibbler on 3rd and 2. He will run it forward, and he will have enough for the first down as he takes it to the 18-yard line. Pick up a 3 on the play when he needed 2. First down, Crusaders.
And these fans were out here tailgating still in the parking lot. They all had their canopies set up and everything. And we live in Ohio. We know this this comes with the territory sometimes.
I mean, boy, last week, beautiful, 75 degrees. And I was calling a high school football game last night in Westerville. 65 degrees, but it dipped all the way to 55. And now we got rain today. Unbelievable. Wibbler throws. Barnett! Bobble! And an interception.
Oh, that's a big drop. And
Peyton Williams with the interception for the Lions. And, man, the tough day for Barnett just continues.
For Wibbler, he's the one that gets the interception. Obviously not his fault. Boy, 18 for 38 for him, though, Charlie, with 2 interceptions. Doesn't look good on paper. 3 touchdowns. That does look good, but 2 interceptions. One was back in the red zone over here on this side of the field. And then we see the interception here on this drive. The fumble right before the end of the half as well. 3 big turnovers.
Yeah, and all of them really hurt.
Yeah, all of them have hurt.
Mount St. Joseph, 1st and 10 at Capital's 27-yard line. I mean, boy, if Mount St. Joseph plays their cards right, this could be the nail in the coffin right here. The give is to Greenwood, and Greenwood will take it up to the 22-yard line, only gain of about 5 or so.
Yeah, a field goal, I mean, it hurts. It turns it into a 2-touchdown game, essentially, but you could still come back from that. A touchdown here probably puts it away with just how much time's left. We're at under 5.5 now. And
right now the Lions are just taking their dear sweet time when it comes to getting the play in, well, as they should. As they try to salt this game away. We're approaching 5 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Mount St. Joseph 31, Capital 21. Tomlin in the shotgun once again with 4 wideouts on the field, 1 to his left, 3 to his right. Tomlin will give off to Greenwood. Greenwood to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, 5, and touchdown. Oh, boy. I mean, that was just almost too easy right there as Greenwood goes left end and takes it into the end zone. And, boy, things now looking good for the Lions.
Yeah, that might be, like you said, the nail in the coffin right there. Presswood, very impressive run. And all of a sudden he's put together a pretty nice day now. 20 carries for him, 76 yards, and the touchdown. That's the 3rd rushing touchdown as well for Mount St. Joe's. If you told me that would have happened earlier today, I would not have believed you. They had just 9 rushing touchdowns in 10 games last year. They already have 3 today.
The point after is good. 5:03 remaining in the 4th quarter. Mount St. Joseph 38, Capital 21. While we have a moment, let's get you updated with other scores around the OAC. Again, a final. Mount Union shuts out North Carolina Wesleyan 58-0. John Carroll loses today 23-17 to Wisconsin Oshkosh. Heidelberg leading Olivet 40-24 with 2:33 remaining in regulation. Muskingum goes on to shut out Waynesburg 19-0. Baldwin-Wallace all over Defiance 35-2 with 8:59 to go in the 4th quarter. And Wilmington up big over Earlham 49-20 with 4:28 to go in the 4th quarter. By the way, coming up later on tonight, Ohio Northern at Adrian at 6 p.m. Marietta on the road as well. They are battling Geneva at 7 o'clock. And finally, Otterbein is on the road as well, but they will keep it local somewhat, playing at Ohio Wesleyan, the school that Roger Ingles used to be athletic director at.
Cap soccer update. Men's soccer beat Salisbury yesterday on the road 1-0. They did lose today to St. Mary's of Maryland 2-0. Their home opener is this upcoming Friday. They're playing the number 3 team in the nation, St. Thomas from Minnesota. Come out to Bernler for that one Friday.
Kick is away. Preciado will take it at the 2-yard line. To the 15, to the 20, to the 25. And he will be taken down at around the 26-yard line. Okay, well, 4:58 remaining. Capital down 38-21 to Mount St. Joseph. You got to start taking shots down the field.
Absolutely. Just to be fair as well, women's soccer, they had a win yesterday as well, 1-0 against Kenyon. In overtime, Carly Murray had the game winner. It was actually featured on NCAA's Twitter as a top 10 play.
Really?
It was a very cool goal. She kind of kicked it from a volley from Hester and kind of lofted into the top left corner, hit off the post, off the crossbar, and in. It was really cool. Check that out on Twitter. It was retweeted by the Capital account. And
Good.
volleyball 1-3 in their opener at Otterbein.
Wibbler back to pass, and he's sacked. Sacked behind the line of scrimmage by Corey Harden, the junior out of Louisville. Well, that's not a good start for the offensive set here for Capital.
No, certainly not.
And we'll keep the clock running. 4:35 and counting. Loss of 4 on the sack by Harden. 2nd and 14. Capital at their own 23-yard line. Wibbler still trying to get the play in from the sideline.
Lots of time ticking off here, Charlie.
Wibbler will be in the shotgun. A receiver to the left, 2 to the right. Wibbler takes a snap, dumps it off to Heater. Heater to the 25, to the 30, to the 35, to the 40, to the 45, midfield, and knocked out of bounds into Lions territory at the 47-yard line.
Good little screen pass there. Kind of just open the floodgates and let the defense come through and then just drop it right over their heads. It was perfectly executed.
And more importantly, Heater goes out of bounds to try to conserve as much clock as possible. 4:01 remain in the fourth quarter. Mount St. Joseph leading Capital 38-21.
7 catches for 84 yards now to complement carries for 85 yards from Heater.
Wibbler back to pass. He'll throw, and it is almost intercepted. Was that a catch? Yes, it was. My goodness, Dartavius Stanford putting on a show there.
The arm strength, too, from Wibbler to squeeze that in that window.
It'll be a 1st and 10 for Capital at the Lions' 36-yard line. Wibbler in the shotgun, a receiver to his right, 2 to his left. They'll go back to pass. He'll throw. Heater with the completion. Now 35 to the 34-yard line, but more importantly, gets out of bounds. So
this is going to be a career day for Heater, certainly in terms of receiving. And his shoe came off, so he's going to need a sub.
Looks like Evan Butler will be coming back in. Wibbler trying to call the play here. Boy, you're right, Jimmy. A lot of time lapsing off the clock. You'd like to see Capital try to conserve more of that time here, to at least try to make things a little interesting. Wibbler takes a snap, goes to his left, throws, and it is picked off. Picked off at the 5-yard line as they were trying to get it to Barnett, making the interception. Tavon Robertson.
That was a touchdown, too, Charlie. He had 5 or 6 yards of distance between him and the defender. And Wibbler just left it short. Nothing Barnett can do to make an adjustment on it. That's frustrating. Throws that ball a little bit farther. That's 6 points right there.
3rd interception of the day for Thomas Wibbler. Boy, I mean, it's been a very frustrating and uneven day for the Capital offense. I mean, we've seen some very good things, particularly from the passing game. Dar Stanford looks like a stud at his spot, and we've seen at the running back spot, but for whatever reason, turnovers, not making catches at key times, especially near the sidelines. This is a performance that Capital is just going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit, because there is talent here on the offensive end. It's just trying to put that talent together consistently. A throw to the outside and an incomplete pass as they were trying to hit A.J. Glines, although wouldn't you want to run the ball right there?
Not sure why they're throwing there with 3 minutes left, up by 17. Want to get that clock in motion normally. We'll take it.
Absolutely. Stops the clock with 3 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Now St. Joseph 38, Capital 21. Chayton Tomlin in the shotgun. The receiver to his left, 3 to his right. Hastings is his tailback. And the give is to Hastings. Hastings trying to go around left end, across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Or the 17, excuse me. So a gain of 3 on the play, and it instantly brings up a third down situation for Mount St. Joseph, who leads Capital 38-21 with 2:40 and counting in regulation. 3rd and 7 for the Lions. Tomlin in the shotgun. And Greenwood is his tailback. I am counting upon a carry here by Greenwood just to take some time off the clock. And Greenwood will be promptly stopped around the 20-yard line. Making the tackle is Corey Mays, junior out of Cleveland. Approaching 2 minutes to play. Mount St. Joseph still up 38-21 over Capital. And despite the 38 points given up by Capital's defense today, Jimmy, all in all, I thought it was a really good showing by the defense. It's just that they were backed into too many situations due to the problems on offense.
Absolutely. The secondary was great. The pressure that they put on Tomlin, very good today. The issue is just that losing contain when they got that pressure. And his ability to make plays while on the run today is what won this game for Mount St. Joe's, in addition to the +3 in the turnover department.
Minute 36 remaining in the fourth quarter, and now, let's see here, time has been called. Question is by who?
Prior to the expiration of the play clock, timeout, Mount St. Joseph.
Mount St. Joseph taking a timeout. Stay tuned for the Crusaders post-game show, as we will go over what happened in this game, get you caught up with scores around the OAC, and much more. College football season opening up officially today here on September the 2nd of 2017. By the way, speaking of college football, this will raise the ire of a lot of Longhorns fans over there in Texas. Right now, the 23rd ranked Longhorns losing to unranked Maryland 51-41, and that is at Texas. Actually, I take that back. That game has just gone final. The Terps are winners over the Horns, 51-41 on the day. Not a good coaching debut for Tom Herman, the former offensive coordinator for Ohio State.
Wow, that is a big upset.
So now the punt is away for Jerry Porter. And Preciado will fair catch it at about the 36-yard line. Of course, some of the other big games taking place when it comes to Division I football. Right now, it's 17th ranked Florida leading 11th ranked Michigan 3-0 with 6:25 to go in the first quarter. And then the game that everybody's looking forward to, 3rd ranked Florida State taking on number 1 ranked Alabama in the Chick-fil-A football open, or
whatever.
something sponsor related like that. You know what I mean. And it's at that new stadium for the Falcons, right?
Yeah, that's one of the bigger regular season games that I remember, between like a 1 and a 2 or a 1 and a 3. I think the most recent one was back when Bama played LSU, that was 4 or 5 years ago, when they ended up rematching in the championship game.
Iskey, that in at quarterback, he will now give off to Dylan Schoonover, the 5'7", 200-pound freshman from Grove City.
That, of course, was an actual conference game. So it's just a big non-conference game tonight.
Who you got in the Florida State-Alabama game, out of curiosity?
I don't know. I mean, these rankings so early in the season.
I know. You've given me the lecture about the rankings. Come on, make a prediction.
I think Bama will win.
Okay.
I can't name a player in Florida State, to be honest with you, so it's kind of a bad prediction, I guess.
51 seconds and counting, and now the carry is to number 40, Nate Sean Hargrove. He's a junior out of Columbus, went to Northland High School. I'll tell you one thing to really focus on with that Alabama-Florida State game, quarterback situation. Jalen Hurts for Alabama and DeAndre Francois for Florida State. That ought to be a fun one down in Atlanta. Seconds are ticking away here, and boy, the rain is really starting to come down now.
Yeah, not fun.
25 seconds and counting. Capital will fall to 0-1 to begin the 2017 campaign. Meanwhile, Mount St. Joseph will begin 2017 with a win, as Iskey will throw. That is off of the fingertips of the tight end, Andrew Klein, and now a late flag has been thrown.
All right. Well,
As
it looked
now
like
as now a penalty's been being called against Mount St. Joe.
I don't know how that happened, but the glove of the receiver shot up in the air about 20 yards
I saw that.
after that hit, and this is definitely a late hit or, hitting a defenseless receiver.
Targeting, something like that.
At this point, it's a 17-point game with 14 seconds left. I don't think a hit like that is quite necessary. And
Especially at the end of the game.
yeah, that might be the biggest reason for the flag.
Defense, number 21. 15-yard penalty.
That's Tyler Hanna.
And
being
the
called for
interception
penalty.
earlier.
Yes, yep. You're absolutely right. 14 seconds remain on the clock. Boy, a frustrating season opener for Capital. I mean, not only did they have to deal with all this rain this afternoon, but despite showing flashes of brilliance both offensively, will fall to the Lions of Mount St. Joseph by a final of 38-21. Still have some time left here to play out. But Capital will have no choice but to leave this game behind and just move on the next week. Iskey, he will give off to J.R. Robinson, the 5'6" freshman from Rochester, New York. And that will be the end of the game. It is the ending to a frustrating season opener for Capital as they fall to Mount St. Joseph 38-21 here at Burnlor Stadium. Coming up, we'll have the Crusaders post-game show as we will put a bow on this bad boy. Again, it is Mount St. Joseph 38, Capital 21. You've been listening to a presentation of Capital Football here on the Capital Sports Network. Welcome into the Crusaders post-game show. Our final today from Burnlor Stadium, Mount St. Joseph 38, Capital 21. Charlie Danis, Jimmy Bloomfield bringing you the action today from a very wet Bexley, Ohio. And boy, Jimmy, just a very frustrating season opener for Capital. We saw them move the ball up and down the field offensively. I think the wide receiver core, there's a lot to like there, especially with the addition of Dar Stanford, but in the end, just too many penalties committed by the defense, and the turnovers really came back to haunt Capital in the end.
Yeah, didn't even notice this just looking at the stats now. Capital outgained Mount St. Joe's by 81 yards. They had 398 yards of total offense. A couple of red zone turnovers, part of the reason for that. And like you said, the offense looked really good at times, and I kind of just said this to you off the air. One of those games where the score really doesn't indicate how close it was throughout. Capital was seemingly in control of this game, headed into the locker room, had a big turnover at the end of the first half, and Mount St. Joe's rode that to a really good third quarter for them, in which they outscored Capital 14-7, and adding on a late touchdown with about 5 minutes left to punch in the final blow for victory.
Quickly, the scoring recap for both teams. Mount St. Joseph got on the board first with 8:50 remaining in the first quarter, thanks to an 8-yard touchdown run by quarterback Chayton Tomlin. Capital responded with a 9-yard touchdown pass from Thomas Wibbler to Connor McLeod. That tied the game at 7 apiece with 3:17 to go in the first quarter. Capital took a lead 14-7 with 13:25 remaining in the second quarter, thanks to a 50-yard touchdown pass from Thomas Wibbler to wide receiver Dar Stanford. Mount St. Joseph responded with a 37-yard field goal by Jerry Porter with 3:45 remaining in the first half. And then with a minute 51 remaining in the first half, it was a 35-yard touchdown pass from Chayton Tomlin to his wide receiver Marcus Williamson. That gave Mount St. Joseph a 17-14 lead at the half. And then in the second half, the Lions took the lead or extended their lead, I should say, on a 10-yard touchdown run by Chayton Tomlin, his second of the game. Tomlin followed that up with a 17-yard touchdown pass to Kendall Sproul at the 6:37 mark of the third quarter. Eddie Preciado caught a 15-yard touchdown pass from Wibbler to cut the deficit to 31-21. But then Mount St. Joseph pretty much nailed down the nail in the coffin with a 22-yard touchdown run by Presswood, the running back, with 5:03 remaining in the fourth quarter, leading to our final of 38-21. Jimmy, would you care going through the stats?
Yeah, sure can. Just wanted to make one point on the scoring drives that you were just talking about here. If you look at Mount St. Joe's first two scoring drives, a 10-play drive and a 15-play drive, the rest of the game they had a 6-play drive, a 4-play drive, 1-play drive, 2-play drive, and that kind of shows you the field position that they had to deal with. 22-yard touchdown run was the second play of the drive. A 17-yard pass was the first play of the drive. So kind of shows you what we were talking about, the defense being up against the back of the walls again. Team-wise, we already talked about the total offense in Capital's favor, 398-317. They outpassed Mount St. Joe's, not surprisingly, 260-157. In the rushing yards, Mount St. Joe's had 160. Capital had 137. Both teams had 20 first downs, which is obviously dead even. The turnover battle, 4 for Capital, 1 for Mount St. Joe's, a big -3 for the Crusaders. Possession time was basically even. Capital 31 minutes and change to Mount St. Joe's 28. Third down, pretty even as well. Cap went 7 for 18, including 1 for 2 on fourth down. And Mount St. Joe's went 8 for 21, 1 for 2 on fourth down. Leading the way through the air was Wibbler, 260 and 3 touchdowns, 21 for 42, throwing 3 interceptions though. Tomlin 11 for 35 on the other side, 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was the second leading rusher as well, 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. Presswood had 85 and a touchdown. Hastings had 34 on 12 carries. For Capital, Corey Heater had a great game, 16 carries for 85 yards. Evan Butler added 10 for 31. Wibbler added 22 on the ground as well. Receiving, obviously, it was a big day for Corey Heater there as well, 8 for 86. Dar Stanford had 70 and a touchdown. Barnett, 41 yards on 4 catches. And Hunter Smith had a 26-yard catch as well for the Crusaders. Eddie Preciado as well in the return game, 5 kick returns for 132 yards. He also had 3 punt returns for 28 yards. So doing a nice job there, all-purpose-wise. And he also had a nice touchdown catch as well.
So that's a look at the stats from this game. Another OAC scoreboard update for you. A lot of games around the conference going final. Mount Union shuts out North Carolina Wesleyan 58-0. Wisconsin Oshkosh defeats John Carroll 23-17. Heidelberg 40-24 winners over Olivet. Muskingum shuts out Waynesburg 19-0. Baldwin Wallace nearly with a shutout. They defeat Defiance 42-2, and Wilmington beats up on Earlham 49-20. Coming up later tonight, Ohio Northern on the road at Adrian at 6 p.m. Marietta at Geneva at 7. And Otterbein, they will take their act on the road to Ohio Wesleyan, kind of keeping it local here in Central Ohio. That game is scheduled for a 7 o'clock start as well. So Capital will start the 2017 season 0-1. Mount St. Joseph will improve to 1-0 on the young season. And Jimmy, for Capital, they have no choice but to turn the page. And now they have to get ready for Muskingum in a couple of weeks. They got the bye week coming up next week. So Muskies will come to town in a couple of weeks, and that'll be the night game here at Bernlohr Stadium.
Always fun at night here at Bernlohr. Hopefully we get some better weather. And usually a pretty winnable game with Muskingum. Capital's had some pretty good success with them the last few years.
Let's hope that they can rebound against the Muskies. That'll be just about do it for us. Remember, that game against Muskingum will be on September 16th on a Saturday. Kickoff for that game from Bernlohr Stadium is scheduled for a 7 p.m. start, and we will get things started with the Crusaders pregame show beginning at 6:30 that night. For my broadcast partner, Jimmy Bloomfield, this is Charlie Danis saying one final time. The final score today from Promort Field at Bernlohr Stadium, Mount St. Joseph 38, Capital 21. We will see you in a couple of weeks when Capital plays host to the Muskingum Muskies, the night game here at Bryn Stadium at 7 o'clock on September 16th. Until then, everybody, so long from Bexley, Ohio.